I want to. Thank you so much, honey. Want 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 you so Time to go. Engines running. We're on our own. Running on an endless road. Reaching for something we used to know. If I had another chance, I'd make things right. I see the light behind your eyes is fading now.
Love that trailer. Absolutely love it. It always lets me know that it is the morning and it is time to start the Paladins Global Series. So for all of you watching on all those platforms, welcome and hello. My name is Evan Rayner, and Rain Day Gaming is where you may know me on Twitter or social media. Of course, this is Nick Keogh. Pretty hair or high res. Actually, wait a second. What did you change your thing to?
I haven't changed it yet.
Oh, he's still
It's impossible,
Evil
dude.
Mojo,
It's like
pretty hair.
I gotta hit up like Twitter support or something, get the actual handle changed, and I'm just like, you know what?
You heard it here
Don't
first.
forget your roots.
Don't forget your roots, where you came from. Nick, the only one still with the high-res tag. That makes you special. And so how you feeling today with that special?
I'm feeling good, man. I love that trailer, too, because like it zooms in on like, I don't know, Antarctica or something, somewhere in the snow, right? You know,
right where
the global
where
series,
the global series takes place.
Home to the global
series. It's the Antarctica. I love that.
We're live here, man. I think there's a penguin out.
We need to do a remote. We need to do a remote cast in Antarctica. I absolutely believe that. Well, we're having fun. It's an exciting Friday morning. Hopefully you guys are having a good one as well. Let's take a look at the standings as we get into the first of two regions today. It'll be CIS and Latin America. First one, CIS, Armada, B5, Fiasco Bros, and
2 for none, 12 IQ.
2 for none, 121 IQ. Oh, no, 12 IQ. I guess 12 IQ, yeah.
That just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
You know, I just love it when...
Branding 101.
Branding 101. Make your name easily understandable and readable.
That's one of those names. It was basically like Mudastina. It's like the first time I looked at Mudastina, I'm like,
huh?
You know, I spit out Matustina, right? And it's one of those, I like have this sense where I'm like, I'm looking at a word and I'm like, I know there's probably a couple ways to say this.
Sure.
And I'm going to get it wrong. Every time. I'm going to say it completely incorrect.
Matustina. Yeah. Matustina, Georgia. Feels like a location. Well, let's get into game one here. Obviously, the mouse will be coming up shortly for you, and we're going to cast the action. And it's exciting because 1.4 has definitely given us a lot to think about, a lot to see and develop, I think, in terms of our concepts of where this meta has gone. What are some of the bigger pieces you've been picking up on over this week?
Well, Grok's definitely seen a little bit more versatility. I think just a lot of his base changes too, right? He got a lot of shiny new talents, but you know, being able to deploy his totem range around, all that kind of stuff has really been good for him. You look at a couple different people like Ying. We've seen a little bit of life exchange.
Yeah.
Not enough to make me
say wow.
Like baseline, but. Yeah. She's a character that's been out of it for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Andro, like he floats in and out sometimes, and you've got those guys that just like have that in the back pocket.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people have the Ying in the back pocket.
I think that's one of the bigger things too. I mean, you talk about not just mastering her heals, but mastering her escape, which Dimensional Link is something that you don't just wake up and know how to do it perfectly all the time. A lot of suggestions, but it will be a Nara for B5. They are one of the most notable representatives of the CIS region to compete in Paladins. And so they'll take the Stone Warden first, and Bomb King and Genos will follow up for 12 IQ.
B5. Okay. They go for Leon here.
Smart.
Despite Drogos and Willow being banned out, I think the anti-heal has value in any type of composition, right? So
huge, man.
She's definitely become a comfort pick. She has climbed, especially, you know, over the course of the summer split, she has really climbed the ladder of priority.
And I mean, there's just nothing that there's no other champion that gets that 90% off.
Kind of felt like a matter of time, didn't it, when that legendary came out?
Absolutely, because it's just so impactful, and she doesn't lose anything. It's one thing if you have to kind of, I don't know. Drogos isn't even a great example because Drogos can do well with 3 different playstyles: Combustible Fusillade or Worm Jets. But we see the Ying come through at the very end, and just to finish my point, Leon really still plays the same way as she would with that legendary or without it, so you're really just gaining a huge boon for your team.
Terminus will be the final pick here, and as a solo point front line, could struggle a little bit.
Fury and Genos, though, so going for the double support instead of the double front line. What do you think about that? My biggest conjecture was that we would start to see that in 1.4 a little bit more.
I don't know. I don't know that I like who they've picked with it, right? You know, you've got this Genos. Maybe he's going to be getting up in there, right? But
yeah,
when you don't have Luminary anymore, I think maybe he's the guy that sits sort of in the back line, and you let Furia kind of be like the high damaging support. Because I mean, we saw a game earlier this week.
Oh, wow.
You know, despite the fact that they got 4-0'd, or 0-4'd rather,
right,
the Furia was still top damage.
Well, let's take a look at Mad Mac here and check out this Ying. I think starting with Morale Boost is where you want to go. Kronos will not have an impact. Obviously, he's going to be running Brittle 5, which you would expect, but Yes, he is. And he's going for Life Exchange. And this is really similar to a loadout that you'll see a lot of Yings run, aside from the Brittle, from the very beginning. I mean, increasing your health, increasing the health of your illusions lasting longer, but Brittle being a 1.5 second cooldown makes it that much more reliable.
So, you know, unlimited power and the boys, are they back together? You know, it's kind of funny to watch. Just, I wonder what's going to happen to Virtus Pro this week, next week, Evan.
Going to be very interesting, that is for sure. A lot of these players just having that ability to rotate between the top tier league and this more amateur league, but still there's nothing amateur about their play. B5, 69% and counting on the objective. The Love Cup finally starting to find his way into the action with the Furia, forcing them back, and I'm not even going to try this one. Terminus on the objective.
Okay, he will be first blood. Terminus is going to go down, and that's what I'm really worried about, right? He's just that solo point frontliner. The second any amount of map control, like right there, 12 IQ's holding probably 60–70% of map control right there. The second they lose that, even if it goes 50-50, Terminus is going to start to struggle on this objective.
And I think Strongful is showing why this Leon is just so valued. Look at the damage, unlimited power. With the ability also to be able to follow up, I wasn't actually seeing and paying attention to what he was running in terms of his talent, but I believe it is Shrapnel. Unless we do see...
Yeah, I don't think we've seen much different from that. You know, the Frog Isle games, you'll see the burst mode come through.
Yeah.
But even there, sometimes you'll still see Shrapnel. That's one of the things in high-level play. They like their burst damage.
And, yeah, I absolutely agree. Why wouldn't you? It's very, very good right now. Some may say overperforming, so keep some tabs on that in the near future. B5 very, very close to pushing this through. MTZ looking like he's going to take a little bit of damage, but Earthen Guard and a Ying clone just heals him right back up.
Looking to leverage this Bomb King a little bit more, I think. You know, playing from this distance, it's just not consistent. You know, he's throwing them out. Some of them are sticking, some of them aren't. That's kind of Bomb King for me, right? You want to get to that mid-range. You want to get to that spot where you're connecting every single one of these, and especially with your Luminary backing you up and Chain Reaction, I mean, forget about it.
Yeah, it's going to be very damaging. And it's not that Royal Subjects. He is really trying to land multiple bombs, blow through the shields. You can expect that he's running Cauterize here because that is just hitting for base damage onto the shield there. And that will be helping him to secure more and more of these low health targets and make sure that Ying is not an issue in terms of letting those kills get away. Speaking of Ying, heading back to Mad Mac here, just trying to apply a little bit of damage. He's going to shimmy and shake onto the left side. It looks like the Terminus will fall. The Reanimate is available. He's going to use it, but is the wall up? It is. MTZ blocks it all, and now Terminus in trouble.
Just life exchanging here. You can see the cooldown just so low for Ying to be able to put that one back where it needs to go. MTZ contesting, contesting, contesting. That's what Inara does, and this is where I think B5's composition honestly shines the most, right? They have the long distance. They don't have that Bomb King Mave, those projectile weapons to try and find a pick, try and land something. They're just hit scanning from down range, and they're being more consistent.
And unlimited power is just in the perfect position to just make everybody pay, and that's the problem. You see the way Terminus was attacking that point? King Bomb gets absolutely no value. But Terminus was just standing there. It felt like they were all kind of just waiting for this chess match and one final move from the Rook, you know, all the way to take down the Knight and end it into checkmate, but they weren't being proactive themselves. They weren't actually going about trying to find a way to stop this offense, and eventually Unlimited Power just had enough time to kill everybody.
And it is going to be with Shrapnel. You were right. He's at almost 50k damage. And it's not like this 12 IQ comp can't... It's hard to say that, right? It's hard to say this 12 IQ comp, but it feels like that could work, right? They could be successful on the point. They could be successful where they were trying to hold the defense. It's just like, Bomb King's just not the character to sit right outside of the spawn door and just play the backline, right? No one's...
Especially with Chain Reaction. I mean, I think
you can't be successful.
Hark into that earlier point. Ying leading the healing chart, Snake, by a whopping 20,000 here.
Doesn't matter when you bring two.
And I think I love the way the clone placement as well. This is enough of a range to help the point. He's also throwing one in here for Strongful, who's going to be attacking on that other side. And the morale boost, like we mentioned earlier, we did not maybe check in with those items mid-round, but that morale boost for Ying is going to be so important to keep that ultimate charging very quickly as the Midnight from Maeve responds.
Uh-oh, surprise Fernando from the backside here. He's going to take down the Bomb King. Stunned away. Terminus is in trouble now because he's just getting surrounded. And the shield, I mean, it's the outplay that was coming from a mile away the second he got there. Azura knew exactly what he wanted to do. Can we take a look at this loadout? I want to see if he's picking up resilience or if he's just got it in the loadout. A little bit of a movable object there.
And I think this is right. I mean, this is what you do. I don't think you give up too much of Incinerate. I like Heat Transfer as a car. I mean, super valuable. And Last Stand is just a great one-pointer. You know what I mean? It's a fantastic one-pointer. You take Khan's, I believe it's like Vigorous Defense, and that's 25 per 1 point every second. I mean, Fernando gets 100? I mean, this is 4 times the value. This is a very high value in comparison. And this was also nerfed a little bit and buffed and changed.
A very, very old card.
Yes.
Very old. Part of like a raid boss Fernando loadout way back in the day. There was another one. What was it called? Like Queen of the Hill or something like that. You would get like a bunch of either damage reduction or HPS. That was like right as I was starting to play the game, that was on its way out.
That was the thing that was
so
moving.
I only had to deal with like the equestrian. What's it
the
called?
mount up.
Yeah,
the
mount up. You get the shield after you mount up.
Oh, God, that was a horrible, horrible time.
Yeah.
But it was also a very, very wonderful time as well.
It's fun to look back on.
Only depended on if you were playing Fernando.
It certainly is.
You know, I think looking at this, I was going to comment on the fact that after about 10 seconds or so, Mad Mac had already had his ult back to 100%, 35%, excuse me. He uses it now, so let's see how fast he's actually charging this thing. Still on 2%. Everyone's very healthy, so not going to really need to be using those heals. There's not much he's going to be gaining from that, and actually just applying damage is one of the biggest aspects. Again, just helping Azeron stay aggressive into the back line. This looks like B5 will be closing it out very, very soon. 35%.
I like just watching Life Exchange Ying. It feels more impactful,
More
right?
active.
CDR may need to be adjusted, something may need to change at some point, but it feels like she can get in the fight a little bit more than the rest of the supports, right? She had that, 5-6 second illusion cooldown that she just kind of has to sit there and hope it doesn't die, right? So you're more, I think, involved with this build.
What's so interesting is playing it a little bit, and I have a lot more work I want to do in terms of playing myself and seeing some of those intricacies. It feels like she's much more active in the fight, and that active healing allows you to make more impactful plays.
Right.
I'm not healing for 20,000 like I would with Lifelike, just auto healing in Nara, but that 5,000 I'm healing that I'm choosing on where it needs to go keeps my flanker alive, keeps my back line alive in terms of a sniper, someone I'm protecting. So I think that that's going to be better in high level play. It just gives players more control.
It's been the longest standing argument against Ying, right? Like I just don't have control, right? I don't want to, and that's what makes Ying so strong and approachable as a champion, right? To the general population, you don't need to think you could just fire and forget. Now, Life Exchange talents, things like Shrapnel, right? There are, and I think that's okay to have like the higher level, more controlling legendaries.
I think it's a great look, and 1.4 has brought a lot of that, especially like Spirit's Domain with Grok and all of these different changes. We haven't seen that one jump back in though into the meta, so we're still waiting. But there's plenty of time, and each region, especially in week 1, is going to have their different picks, their different flavor. We'll see probably more of an honest answer after week 2 because they'll be able to play against what worked or what didn't work in week 1 and make those adjustments then. A Strix ban and a Kinessa ban, so Snipers out of the way, Nick.
2 front lines as well, 2 of the most popular ones, especially on Frog Isle. So we'll have to see if they elect to just kind of run back what they had last game at Nara's, Terminus, things like that. Terminus is a tough guy to pull off, especially on open maps like this. I'm borderline, I throw Stone Keep in there as well. I think he's a really tough one to pull off on Stone Keep as well, unless you're super comfortable with the character, but that's kind of Terminus.
I mean, and Leon, let me just tell you, Leon is just so valuable in this meta, man. I mean, the death and taxes, it's really unavoidable. The 2 things that are unavoidable in life are death and taxes, and Leon, just the way that she plays, she has ways to hit you without really hitting you, with grace, with valor. So it's almost like, just as the saying goes, her damage is unavoidable, and that just means that everyone is anti-healed. The Power Siphon hopefully going to do a little better, and a big switch up actually from Mad Mac onto Maldamba this game.
And I think it's a nice pairing with Terminus. If you are going to run them on an open map like this, there's a popular card, Swift Spirits, that can just give your frontliners or anyone that you're actively healing a little bit more movement speed. Great card. Only the 1 support this time around for 12 IQ. They go to the double front instead.
Well, let's head into game 2. Seems like it might be a quick one here. B5 definitely the favorites to come out on top and with relative ease on Frog Isle and any other map that they play in CIS. We've got 4 total sets today, 2 in LATAM, 2 in this wonderful region. CIS is basically a representative of the Commonwealth of Independent States, which is, if you want to think of it normally or colloquially, it might just be kind of Russia and some surrounding areas. So that's where these names are coming from. It's where these players reside, as it's a Royal Subjects Bomb King, at least to start out.
Luminary as well. Death and Taxes, all according to plan. I like this as well from MTZ, the value build, and this is really, really good, especially against Inara. When you know the only thing that's slowing you down is really that orders field. So you get the Bulldozer online early, 200 credit per tier item. Same with the Rejuvenate. You get that down in a couple of shots and you're back in business.
Mini Gourds, 5. And Swift Spirit's form. So this is a very interesting kind of...
I want to see some Ripen Gourd, man.
I do too. I think it's just such a big payoff. This is one of those sets where I say, hey, maybe that's possible. I love the way that they're playing this too. The two front lines, Azeron just being aggressive on the Fernando and already played the Fernando as well, giving unlimited power, a lot of room to fire out and close the distance, and it's really just hurting 2 for none and their ability to attack this objective. It's a full 100 to 0.
And 1 minute 30 on the clock, so that's about the optimal capture you can do there. And I think that might be worth doing, like just buying, master riding and just going straight to the point.
Seeing
load in on like a GM account, just by yourself, just figure out what is the mathematically, and see if there's like, what it is on every different map.
Yeah.
I'm sure, you've got your Ice Mines versus your Frog Isles. You're gonna have different, perfect games, so to speak, on each map.
Oh, I completely agree. I think that'd be very interesting if someone wants to do that. Let us know if you have some results or you have some maximum times or some minimum times. And Proroke almost falls down. Azeron gonna fall to Dirac there. Addition on the Leon, veteran player in this region, and trying to just quell some of the storm that is showing up here from B5 today. They have definitely come to play. Payload's still moving.
Jorgos makes it through here. A character that's always around, right? Whether he's first pick, whether he's 10th pick, whether he's just banned outright. He's committing here to hitting that fire spit.
He needed it.
Oh man, he could have made a much hotter play there. That's what I thought he was going for, right? But instead, Alexi just kind of sadly boosted back onto a corner, got stunned and killed.
And I mean, he kind of, I think, realized that, wow, I'm being a little aggressive here, and I don't have as much booster as I would like. Hit the fire spit just to give himself a chance to go CC immune and stop mid-air for the Dragon Punch. But at that point, he was so exposed and also got hit by the Bomb King, which is a bigger problem for him. As
oh my goodness.
Proroke finds himself down on the ground and unlimited power, returns the favor with a nice kill.
Just comes ripping in with the fire spits there and gets the knockback kill. Good to see on Frog Isle. That fire spit found the connection with the rocket, but none of its enemies. Now Azeron is trying to get control of this right-hand side flank. One of the frontliners already down for 12 IQ, so this payload inching ever closer to its destination with not a lot left to contest it.
And it's so rough, looking at Ashes. There's just such a difficulty and I think maximizing her play overall. And when she even can get her ultimate off, Nick, there are some issues with a lot of champions in this meta being able to counter her out because CC is just so devastating against her. 2 for none. He's going to fall down. Strongful getting 2 for none as well as he's still alive, and he's going to make that a triple as Proroke can't even fall before going down.
Honestly, that was a terrific Ashe ultimate. I think that really did maximum effectiveness there. But it just wasn't enough, and I think that's because of the B5 front lines. Obviously, Inara drops very early on in that engagement, but they're never able to get back control. And it's as a result of these frontliners continuing to be aggressive. Yes, unlimited power and strong floor hitting the shots in the back line, but I think anyone can do it at that point, right? When you've got Azeron forcing 2 people back into spawn with his shield up. You've got MTZ on the objective the entire time. He ends up picking the kill on the Ashe. It's incredible stuff from those two.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to run the Ashe, I think he has to play a little bit more like the Fernando is playing, and you have to pick your side. It's either going to contest the Fernando, but Ashe really likes to go down this left-hand side because she has access to knocking people off and with the kinetic burst. So I don't know if he's actually playing towards that. He's got Percussion 3, which is decent enough, but this is where he needs to control it. He just doesn't have much in terms of his ultimate to really close the space and force everyone back, but it's better than it was before, Nick.
Absolutely, Evan. It's the right idea. I would rather see that happen than that not happen at all, right? You just kind of get killed or grinded out in your backline, right? Make the play. Play the composition that you drafted there. And I was going to bring up the Bomb King, and he did it himself. I came right on rolling through with his King Bomb there. Not quite enough. Close, but no cigar, but that is the right idea with this composition, I think.
And to me, I always nitpick on the Ashe stuff, but you play Ashe for this range that she has. And what I noticed is he wasn't using the range as well as he might have been able to. Unlimited Power going to just seal the deal here. It doesn't look like they'll get the Inara back on point, and that means no one else will. But because she's got so much just ability to affect you from a distance with her weapon shots naturally, I feel like 2 for None was a little bit up close. Kind of trying to chest bump there and might have needed to just keep that mid-range. It's one of the hardest things to do for Ashe, but definitely a character that's hard to maximize in general.
3-0 here for B5. They are coming down on the final point of this set, potentially. Ashe goes down in the exact same spot that she went down in the round prior. The only difference is the payload is nowhere near as far pushed as it was in that round then. So B5 will likely hold the position that they've got currently, needing to win another fight if they want to repeat rounds back-to-back.
Really excited to see, you know, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what Ashe needs. The ultimate
honestly, man,
was different.
she doesn't do a ton of damage. I think she's like, honestly, like the most balanced a front line's damage can feel, right? You know, if they're getting any sort of healing, they're not really in any danger, but she will kind of grind you down over a fight.
Right.
But, you know, when she's got such great range right there, how oppressive can she be? I don't know. I think the cannon's in a decent spot.
Yeah. It's just so, there's just so many other better front lines that can stop the cauterize application as well. That shield is so difficult for her to really accurately hide behind as B5 take this one. And it goes into a very difficult spot of Terminus, Inara, you know, Fernando, even Barrack. I mean, being able to sustain themselves just that much more to be cohesive with their healer. And Ashe kind of has to just go out there. She's the war machine. She has to be the vanguard in some aspects. And that shield is just not a good, safe, like, design.
I mean, you kind of saw it right there. She throws it down, the fire spit comes up over the back of her head, and then she gets knocked out in front of it, and she's kind of like out in the open there.
Oh, God.
That's not the result of her demise, but you can see the shortcomings of that defensive ability.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how the next set goes because that was a quick one. B5 take that way 2-0, so let's head to the schedule as we get into the final set for CIS. And it looks like it is going to be Fiasco Bros and Armada Esports, teams we've seen before. I'm excited to see
Armada down, though. I don't know, man.
I mean, this has got to be Ovim, right? Ovim's guys, isn't it?
Yep.
So they are definitely strong as ever. Let's see what happens in map 1. I think Frog Isle was a good map for B5 to play. I don't know if you're a team that's looking to be an underdog here, trying to turn it around to play a map that's so snowballing like a Bright Marsh or a Frog Isle. Do you think that actually benefits them? We'll find out.
You know?
Could just be 2 quick games again, you know?
To each their own, I suppose. Armada's going to go with the Timber Mill ban and the Fish Market ban, so no Enchanted Forest maps this time around. I think we need another map in that theme set.
I'm a big fan of the Timber Mill ban. Big fan. I don't want to have any shenanigans. That would morally just mentally, physically exhaust me if I saw we were going to Timber Mill.
It's become the new Ice Mines.
Oh, man. Ugh.
And maybe someday,
no,
it won't be anymore.
Maybe. I hope so.
Maybe.
I
People
hope so.
will, like, just be forced to learn it, right? It's like getting the swirly.
I don't want to learn it. It's like having to take an elective on, like, how to make shoes. And you're just like, I don't want to learn this. I never want to learn this. I know it might be helpful in the future. Maybe I'll need to make my own shoes. But I don't care.
But probably
I want to do anything else but this.
But probably not.
And probably not as well. I think that's how at least I think about Timber Mill. Inara, Genos, and Leon for Armada. Already looking good. Fiasco Bros. Can't see the first pick, but it is a Bomb King on the second hand, so we'll find out when we get in the game what that looks like.
And it is Bright Marsh, so it is Terminus, but it is Inara for Armada, and this is something they might do on just about every map that they play. Ovim loves this pick.
Why not?
And I think for good reason, right? He sort of has that frontliner X factor, right? A lot of playing a good front line is just knowing when it's time to move forward, knowing when it's time to move back, knowing what the enemy team can do to you versus what you can do to them. Ovim is very good about getting in people's faces with Inara and ending up, you know, second or third or even first on the damage charts.
Absolutely. I mean, right now, a triple DPS with the Genos, this is very standard of what we've seen kind of envelop across the rest of the season and for the totality of this year up until now. They're going to go for the Barrack here with the Terminus. It's a decent Bright Marsh composition. Barrack does well at holding that room, while Damba and the Gourd plus Terminus is going to be very hard to usurp, as well as a Bomb King applying pressure. I think it's really just about how can they disrupt this front line of Ovim and, of course, Genos and make sure that he's not staying alive as much as he wants.
What is that logo for Fiasco Bros?
It's a fiasco.
It looks like a koala bear that just had its hands chopped off, and it's like coming to terms with that.
My God.
Yeah, it's like the it's that moment.
How could this be?
The Indiana Jones trap goes off and the garrote wire
What have I
comes and
done?
slices
Sweet
it.
Jesus, what have I done?
Okay.
Become a thief in the night. Become
Oh,
a dog
boy.
on the run.
Oh boy. Down boy. Easy, Jean-Val.
Jean Valjean, hold it. Hair
Hold.
trigger
And so
for
it
WK.
begins.
Really?
Haven't seen that in a minute.
No, definitely not.
Great little legendary. Highest DPS in terms of just raw value for Barrack, but just doesn't have the same burst as a
Yeah.
Tinker.
And I think that's okay when you're assuming
he doesn't see it.
that there's going to be a frontliner in your face the majority of the game, or someone that you can just beat up on. Tinkerin, I feel like, is especially good against these flanks because they're going to be moving around the map, they're going to be flying, they're going to be mid-range, they're going to be long-range, they're going to be all over the place. So I feel like it's hard to be weapon effective, and he's just going to hunker down.
I mean,
get staggered out, I think, a little bit there.
Definitely. Oh, and Ovum on the Genos here, so really allowing Coriol to just stay up front. And Ovum just kind of taking the commanding role on the backside. We've seen captains do this before. Ovum actually, such an interesting story from him. In the PPL, we've seen Virtus Pro have their qualms, their issues, and basically take all of Ovum's team to try and change those issues in the professional League of Paladins. But what ended up happening? Well, Virtus Pro didn't make any of the last 2 lands, and Ovum and his squad of what you may call Renegades have made both. So we've seen him more than we've seen Elven Path this year.
And his old teammates, right? And so now you're seeing those old players kind of getting recycled back on the B5, Unlimited Powers back on that roster. They tried.
And this just means that, and you know what, listen, I think they did okay. I mean, for a PGS team coming in, they definitely were one of the teams where you say, watch out. And Bright Marsh was that map where they were surprising everyone. I think they're actually undefeated on Bright Marsh.
And I think that whole attitude of like, you know, succeed or get out might need to change for some of these team captains, because at this stage of the PPL, you've got rosters that are building on, you know, 1, 2, sometimes getting close to like 3 years now for the Navi guys of just playing together and building synergy. It's not gonna happen overnight, right? I think
Absolutely.
you just have to have the foresight to get 4 guys around you that have the right attitudes, that want to succeed and are continuing to get better.
And, you know, Nick, I mean, I think a perfect team to talk about this more from an opposite fashion is SK as well. Like, you know, SK and G2 have done the opposite. They've stayed with so many members for so long that it does feel like, well, now they're not making changes quickly, but finally the War Doom change, you know, G2 hit that point where they said, it has been so long we've been trying and we still have not been able to find the value
Because of
that
his
we want.
attitude, right? They were like, he just doesn't want to approach the game the same way that we do.
Right, and it's 2 different kind of sides of the coin. Like, get rid of them so quickly or hold on to them so long until it becomes maybe detrimental.
Yeah.
Got to find that balance.
It's up to the captain to do that.
It's a hard job. It's not an easy job.
No.
You need foresight. That's why you also just need someone else, I think. Having a coach really does help, because you just get that third-party observer as well to be able to say, listen, I know you feel emotionally maybe this is what's wrong. This is where the comms are off. But game-wise, here's what needs to change. Here's who needs to step it up. Or need to be supported more.
Echo's toying with the idea of Barrack and lets him know in the form of a 1,200 damage headshot. The quick little juke, like, I'm coming up this way, no I'm not, yes I am, and then he comes back up with the ult. A beautiful move there. He gets decent effectiveness out of his ultimate. One will connect on the terminus there, but overall, it's just overwhelming pressure across the map. One last dash, tracking down the Barrack. A little fast and loose today with these shots.
Missing a lot, and I think, you know, this is where you don't need to miss a lot. This is a point fight that you've almost assuredly won. Take your time, hit your shots, get your training in against high-level opponents. Barrack, a small hitbox, so I don't blame anybody for missing a few shots onto Barrack. WK trying to do his best, and this is actually going to mean it costs his death, so maybe he bit off more than he could chew. Those shots missed. Means that WK actually stays alive, and now Hair Trigger applying pressure on an Ineffable, and it's 42% with a comeback mechanic for Fiasco Bros.
And there's the dismount on Unara as
Don't shield
well.
here.
This fight has to go well up on the high ground, and they need to hold them off from this angle in particular. Dome Shield, they have all their ultimates, they have everything they need to fight this one out. But here comes Unara waddling closer and closer to the objective, looking for the overtime.
Wow, that's a headshot right back at ya. Ekka's gonna hide it, and this is huge. WK has made the plays today. Ineffable finally is there, but boy, oh boy, if he would have found that one as well, WK absolutely the reason why even Fiasco Bros had a chance in this match.
And I think this is a good time to talk about Tinkerin and why it is and has been so strong for Barrack, because not only do you get, well, you used to get the more effectiveness and the overall damage of your weapon, but just the inconsistency of like a shotgun buckshot-based weapon is inherently a disadvantage. Even if you're shooting it faster, I don't think I've seen a number over 350 out of that gun the entire match, right? Well, so tinkering gives you the effectiveness of just a single, consistent projectile every time you pull the trigger.
And it's almost like, the way I look at it, I guess, if I'm going to compare it to something, is something I completely forgot, so we'll not talk about that now. But I did see it headshot once, and it did headshot for like 1,100. And one of the benefits is that you get this high payoff, but you just never know when it's coming. And then you get these low payoffs, and so you're right, consistency is the biggest factor for me in terms of why you would do that. You can't headshot with tinkering, but you know what you can do? You can hit consistent, near 500-600 damage shots, especially if you have a Luminary Genos on your side. But unfortunately, this time Fiasco Bros have only 4 members. Make that 3. Make that who cares is Armada. Clean sweep. Yet again, they remain undefeated on Bright Marsh.
Really good map for them historically, so
don't let them get on Bright Marsh.
They're claiming the victory, you know, right out of the gate. They get a lot of really strong picks as well. When you're working the Androxus as well, not, you know, star-studded performance from Ekos, but if you have that in the pocket, right, you become very hard to draft against, especially at this level of play.
Yeah, I think Androxus, especially, you know, on Bright Marsh, maybe on Serpent Beach, becomes more of a top-tier flanker than you suggest. I think there is somebody who's missing here, though. And we haven't seen, and he's not a fun character for a lot of people in terms of, oh, this is so exciting, what's going to happen? But it's Talus. I think Talus actually has a little bit of a place here coming in. I don't know if we'll see a rise to the Antediluvian. I don't know if we'll see a different take on him because it was Inner Rage or Inner Demon that was giving him the dash resets and the damage reduction. But ultimately, I feel like he's going to have a play here towards the end of the season. I don't know how, but I think he is going to.
Faith. Blind faith.
I actually will tell you what. There's that 65% reveal card, and also just a standard Raging Demon that I think really give him a place here in terms of vision, team utility, but also just incredible damage. I mean, in terms of DPS, he's right there with Victor and Tyro when he gets his overcharge going.
Yeah. So we'll head to Serpent Beach here. Armada and Fiasco Burrows. Drogo stays banned. Khan, Makoa, huge, I think, here.
And just one more point on that. I actually think that the reason Talus dropped so much was because of the Blitz Upper change, which you could never hit a Blitz Upper anymore. They have changed that back, and if you played him recently, he actually has gotten it's much easier to hit that. And so, I don't know. It's got to get back into the community somehow. We'll wait and see. I don't think it'll be here today. I don't think it'll even be next week, but actually, I see Rory coming into the building. That's funny. I don't know why he's here. Leon Terminus taken for Fiasco Bros, and Armada grabbing Inara and Fernando. Again, pretty aggressive opportunities for them.
Yeah, this is good stuff so far. Inara, Fernando, BK versus Leon Terminus. I think right out of the gate, you can already say a little bit of a stronger draft here from Fiasco.
Yeah.
And I want to see him work this in here. I think I'm down for this, right? You know, there's a little bit of different flavor to this. They're making adjustments, which is always a good thing to see. Armada's such a strong team. They are the representative more often than not, the top dogs here in CIS.
Yeah.
So it's good to see Fiasco Bros or just anyone under them draft a composition. Play it against them, right? Play it the right way against them, right? Doesn't work. Back to the drawing board. Draw something else up. Pick something completely different here.
I like it.
And see what you got.
I think this is, again, people are sleeping on this. And when you go to, what ends up happening is we go to LAN and we see Na'Vi and then they start dominating with a Zen or something like that. And then they just keep picking Zen, and Zen becomes a ban. And we oftentimes, until that happens, we don't see Zen even picked in some of these games, some of these metas. He is a guy that is going to be filling a role that most flankers can't, and it's just survivable. You can have CC, you can have complete distraction, and also an incredible amount of finishing potential here.
Healer Reliant.
Are these some subs, Nick? I don't remember seeing these names, man. I am Choo Choo, Kale. Is that just me?
I think you are right.
I feel like I would have seen I am Choo Choo with all those umlauts there.
Is that what that U is?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Gord and I were actually talking about that yesterday.
The umlaut?
The umlaut.
That always makes me think of the drummer from Metallica.
Oh, yeah, my favorite band.
Yeah. And then one of the characters in Guitar Hero, his name was Lars Umlaut.
Lars Umlaut. Okay, now that makes sense. Yes, that's right, the Guitar Hero guy. Wow, big headshot here from Ineffable. He's one of the snipers that you do have to watch out for. He's kind of made a performance well known with his eagle eye.
Okay.
As you can see, that's why. It doesn't even look to the right where somebody was getting finished or at least pushed by his team. Just going back onto Kale, who's playing the Ying. She gets obliterated by Adam. This is about as good as a point fight you could have here.
I'll tell you what. Sure looks like it. You know, there was a conversation to be had about Canessa. Haven't seen her in a while on Serpent Beach, but Armada just the confidence to pull it out today. And you can see exactly why. There's the burst damage conversation we talked about with Victor earlier today on Stone Keep, and I think she is the pinnacle of burst damage.
Yeah. And what about this, I mean, just what about this Ashe keeps being the choice for these guys, you know? I mean, especially to go away from the barrack that you just utilized. I mean, WK had a great performance. I mean, honestly, he was one of the brighter lights for me.
I think you can work it. It's just about getting to the right scenario for the pick that you've selected, which in this case is Ashe, right? So it's tracking down someone in the back line. I don't think it's going toe-to-toe with Inara on the objective. That's Terminus's thing, right? You need to maybe duel out with this Fernando a little bit, try and just circumvent him. You and Zin, go to the back line. Try and just blow this Canessa up so she's not out there one-tapping people.
Coriel here holding down the left side, a minute and 50 seconds left. As CIS looks to be coming to a relatively quick ending, unless Fiasco Bros can change the dynamic. It's going to take a lot from WK in this Ashe. Just looking to see this perform. It's been a pick that's, I think most people will consider a little bit of a risk, a little bit of, oh, okay, we'll see how you do. Part of the reason is that, right there. That's your cooldown. Woo. That's your dash. 14 seconds to go, and you're just dead.
Bomb King getting a good little bit of momentum up here on the high ground. Now just looking at what he wants to drop in on. Up to the top, just barely clipped him with the spite as well. Yorlock Spirit. And then the kickback's going to put him back on the low ground here, but the back line belongs to him now. He got the successful pick to make his entry.
Nice.
And now he gets his job done.
And it's great to be able to just get into that billow. He's got the movement speed at a very high level. He actually has a lot of hideout as well, so he's got quite a bit in terms of the billow loadout cards. I'd expect maybe level 3s, 4s in both of those. And we do see hideout 4 and up in smoke 3. And Band of Flames 3 as well. So this is pretty classic. Ooh. Zen loadout. Ovum's going to find the kill there. Ekaz getting the killing blow.
Gets good healing there, and I think, you know, Zen's got everything but the self-sustain, right? A bit of a healer-reliant character to really go hard with, but once you get that good healer, and that's why he's so effective in competitive play. He always has a great healer behind him, and the connections here from the Bomb King. These aren't exactly close-range shots.
No.
My goodness, great stuff there.
Adam is really, I mean, this is the guy. That's what's so dangerous about a good Bomb King. Because you're thinking about Canessa, you're thinking about Fernando, all in your face. You're thinking about the Inara walling you off, and then the Bomb King shows up out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh my god, he's so tanky, he does so much damage. What am I can't deal with this. Too much.
1,035 per direct impact out in front by a decent margin. It's very difficult to deal with. No one is prepared to take 1,000 damage a swing. It's just not a time to kill you feel good about, especially in Paladins where it can feel so high. Even these tanks.
Yeah.
You know, what they make up for in just raw HP pool, they give back to the King, and the size of their hitbox, they're very easy to connect with. So Adam, especially once he gets in that zone, that rhythm, with the Luminary behind him, there's nothing he can't accomplish.
Smart buy for him as well with Rejuvenate. He knows he's getting the Astral Marks for the damage amp all the time. So he's just going to make that worth a little bit more, especially as mid-game starts to roll through. Cauterize 2s. They turn that into a Cauterize 1.8, essentially. Nice spray as he goes into the ultimate. He's going to be very close to going down, though. Blacksure actually going to reanimate as Yorlak finds the kill, and it's a good time to do it because he knows he has the number advantage.
Fernando's going to be a bit on his own now. Coriel will end up shutting it back down. How did that happen so fast?
Canessa had to have headshot him, and I'm thinking a Scorch Fernando. And then I don't know. I mean, that was just, Bomb King was dead. So that was incredibly fast for the Terminus to die.
I mean, you're just seeing again, I think, stuffed it.
All through time and space, that's what it was.
Wow, okay, so did find the big connection there, and that's one of the major counterplays for the Terminus Ultimate is timing something else from a distance. Snipes, time and space, all that good stuff. The second he is a hittable, targetable entity in the game world, you can just kind of rip him through right as the time and space comes off.
Man, Coriel really just walking a tightrope with these shields, but it's working out so well. Just tell how confident he is. And Fernando, with that Flame Lance, you know, 400 damage per second, right? It's not that much, but you just add 15% on top of it, and now you're looking at 450 damage per second. I mean, you start climbing up there. You add the Scorch to it, and he's basically able to knock down 1,000 health a second with that little tick of his Flame Lance and a Fireball. So it's a very dangerous position when he gets up close.
Unstoppable now for Coriel. Walking a tightrope up and over the top, just barely gets it off as well. Poppy Bomb might be a good way to counterplay this. The appeal, though,
so
for Nando,
good.
the dash charge to keep his Bomb King safe. Trying to work the angle, but unfortunately Xin joins the party for a triple kill. And it's just simply too much to manage. With style, he gets to the back line, slays out Open with the spite. And now again, I feel like I've seen this before, this exact pathing Yorlock took last round after his entry frags into the back line.
So, you know what's so funny is I think he actually earned top play in this game. I'm sure when they finish it up, he's going to get that one right there. Just a lot of damage and then just the style points as well. It's going to be a ultimate from Ying here. She's going to activate it and allow her teammates to get that extra healing, but really on a time where they were just trying to stabilize.
Working the Royal Subjects here, you can see. Royal Subjects is the difference there from throwing over Ash Shield and hitting for a 3-400 versus 1-200 there, and a couple of nice connections. And, that's just it. You can't go toe-to-toe with the King, baby.
I'm also very surprised why he jumped down. It seemed like he didn't need to do that at all, but he had her dead to rights. Teach his own. Adam says, don't tell me how to Bomb King. All right. I'll do that too. Goes through the power siphon. See you later, Terminus. He's going to whip his hair back and forth, and he's going to go down. And maybe he counted his chickens before they hatch. This is a problem. Enlightenment comes through, and there's Yorlax Spirit. Wow, if BK was alive and adding damage, you got to say that probably would have been a game over.
Terminus maintains the reanimate as well. Good trigger discipline there. Just a good call from whoever made it. Nars trying to make it on the objective, but too bad, so sad. This time, she will be late to the party.
Yeah.
Here it was from the Xin. 1, 2, and 3, but then the whirl into the ultimate there.
That was
not
the hot
necessary.
play. The hot play.
Necessary if you're trying to guarantee top play.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Great stuff from him. Get wrecked indeed. Yorlax Spirit, a veteran as well. I mean, we've seen Blacksure, Yorlax Spirit, WK. We've seen these guys in this region for a long time. They've been performing, and it's great to see them playing again. Obviously, meeting with what is and has been the top competition in Armada esports throughout the region over the last 5-6 months, and probably even before that with Ovum and his team, before getting most of them picked up by Virtus Pro, dominating even more.
Slowing him down a little bit here.
And Nick, Unlimited Power not even playing here in this game, which is interesting, although he played in the first game.
Yeah, he's playing for B5.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Now 3-1 here for Armada Esports, game 2. 2 ultimates on for Armada. Only one, but a very impactful one. Make it 2. Close to 3 and 4 as well for Fiasco Bros. If I know Ying, she'll be right in there.
And she still has not charged her ultimate back up from that ultimate mid-round last game, and things are not looking good for Armada Esports. 7% and counting. It's all Adam here on this BK. So hard. And yes, we see WK holding down time, but this Ying just getting so shut down, and that's the meta of the cauterized Bomb King, especially with the Luminary.
Woo! Boy, you are playing with fire.
Wow.
He was so concerned about getting to the point for his emote, for his close-up. Overtime, he's going to be reset one last time by Terminus as he Shatterfalls to glory, and the rest of them will start to file in. The game and the overtime meter start to file out.
He tried to get on there, and he
does. He wants to get in the shot.
He does get in the shot. It's
Photobomb.
Armada, though, and he definitely photobombed that one. Great stuff from Armada across the board. That CIS wrapped up for today. We do have Latin America coming up after this, but it is a clean sweep by not only Ovum and his squad here, but some former members as well in the earlier set. It's all Ovum, it's all past members, it's all squad, it's all CIS moving forward here as a region in week 1 of the PGS concludes for them. And maybe we'll take a look at the standings and the schedule, Nick, and just kind of break down what ended up transpiring today.
And now when you've got these players kind of recycling back in, good players that are coming from having been seasoned in the PPL, maybe there starts to be some more competition for Armada. Maybe we see a different representative coming out of the CIS region. This is going to be a region to watch moving forward as we have a lot of good players coming back in from the PPL. It's clear that there's been some roster changes at the top that has put them back in this position, and Armada they might be a little bit comfortable, and we'll have to see if they're able to deal with that pressure.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, who's going to start flocking back to Armada potentially with Ovum's leadership? Ovum, remember, in that interview, kind of called out Virtus.pro. He called out Elvin. He called out the fact that he's really happy they're doing poorly in the PPL, and he's here at LAN. Has that somehow broken some of these bonds between his former teammates? Will they be so eager to jump back in and say...
Probably not.
You know.
And even if they were, I don't even know what he would say at that point, right? They come with tails between their legs. If he's happy with the team that he's got and that, you know, that they're building and they're working together,
yeah,
I don't see why he'd take him back.
Well, we have Latin America coming up very soon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break, though, and get ready for that region. It is a day of PGS, and the first half of it has concluded. My name is Randy. Of course, that is Pretty Hair. And, you know, a great set, a great opportunity to see Ying, some of these new talents, obviously, these great CIS teams.
Right.
And we'll see them next week on Friday as well. So stay tuned. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with some more PGS action with Latin America coming up after this.
seconds remaining. Double kill. Enemy double kill. Rampage. Enemy rampage. Double kill. Enemy double. Double kill. Enemy triple kill. Killing spree. Double kill. Enemy double kill. Killing spree.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here. We've got Latin America on the docket. My name's Rain Day, and I'm joined by Gormizer, which means it's the Party Boys coming at you.
I'm excited.
I'm excited, too.
I'm also excited for the region because there's a couple of teams.
It's gonna be a
there's
party.
a couple of members. Everyone's
fiesta.
moved over.
Yes. Un gran fiesta de Latin America. We've got, of course, our favorite teams in the South American region about to play today. But some big news. Hecate, Fuzzy Logic, no longer a part of Nocturnes. Nocturnes no longer even an org here within this. Burrito, no longer even a part of the team that's representing this region. So we'll have to see. New name, new players, new replacements. Will they still be as dominant? What will happen to the rest of the squad? We're going to start to find out.
I'm curious to see if there's going to be any changes because normally it's right when you have you have a flex player, you have your DPS player leave. If you no longer wanted to be like frontline, you didn't want to be supporter, you're trying to change up roles, that's the time to do it. So I'm kind of curious if we're still going to have the 3 members that were retained fill the same roles and they're just going to try and plug and play some other DPS in there, or if they're going to change it up and everything's going to be topsy-turvy.
To me, man, I think bigger question relies on how much has Hecate meant to this team.
True.
And I think it's so much. You know, as we take a look at the maps, I have a hard time thinking they'll be easily able to replace him and at least what he has done for the squad as far as just be their spirit, their guiding light, and oftentimes I think their energizer in tough times when they need somebody to show up and make a big play and say that Latin America is here to play with the big boys. He was really oftentimes the ones who would do that, but there's so much talent on the team. Let's just not count them out before it is time for them to show up. And it'll be Church versus Free Agent here, and bans coming through. Antroxis banned? Wow.
Only in that.
Maybe that's that. The punch might have maybe gone through here. The punch changes.
I mean, especially depending on who you look at as playing. You know, I mean, again, going back, if you're looking at someone at Fuzzy Logic's level, that kind of Androxus change makes a big difference, especially if it brings them back to the meta. We've seen it a couple times this week, but I don't think we've seen it stand out as much as it can.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what we're waiting for. I mean, next week when the PPL starts up, like, those players that are known for their Androxus, your Lokis, it's going to be a different show.
It's going to be a very interesting kind of time period where everyone's still trying to figure out, all right, this is fun, this is new, no one knows how to play against this, but is it really top tier? Is it really that good? Is it going to get me wins that I would not get otherwise? Free Agent grabbing an R and Cassie here. It's going to be the Leon, Fury, and Fernando, which is a really strong combination. We've actually seen this more and more. Fernando being very relevant, but also just Leon and Furia together, allowing Fury to do her thing and allowing, obviously, the inability to be fully 90% cauterized. The only problem they have to worry about is if Fab grab a Willow here and shut that down.
And I'm kind of curious as to whether or not, I mean, you have Zen, so you do have that flank ability, although it's not necessarily the best map to get around, especially using Zen, but as long as you can get into the back line, I mean, you don't have too much to protect Furia, to protect Leon. Once someone does get back there, they're going to have to win that 1v1, and it's going to be kind of difficult with Zen on the other side.
It's going to be a problem because you're looking at Khan, you're looking at Makoa, you're looking at usually a Drogos or something of that nature because Church have instead banned Androxus. That's going to be available once Koga comes out as well, because you're going to assume Koga's either an insta-ban or people are going to let him through, and if they let him through, it might be a problem. Although PC a little different than console where we know he reigns supreme. Still a lot of questions to be answered here as our first set of Latin America today in the PGS starts off. And what? Hecate is playing? How is this? How is this really going on? The surprise of the century. Did he fake quit?
Well, what I'm wondering is if it was in that timing where it's just like, hey guys, I'm not playing anymore. And then they're like, dude, we need someone.
Dude,
for
but
this
like
wave.
today, can you play? And
And
he's
he's
like,
like, well,
I guess I'm not
for
really
you
doing anything
guys,
today.
I can
And
play.
so it
What
And
the-
I feel like he'll be there for them at all times.
Well, we need a little bit more on that. I'm expecting a twit longer again, Hecate, to explain why I played,
By the way,
why I'm
back,
not playing
baby.
anymore, and then I need the twit longer. Well, why I am playing now. And he's running a Just Breathe Cassie, so maybe a little freer in this experience. And boy, oh boy, it is going to hurt if he keeps landing that. Still has not jumped onto the point.
An enemy.
And it's first blood for Kenningar, taking down Nas. And you have to talk about maybe there is just this time period where he's trying to support these guys, Gore, and transitioning into this squad.
And I can't think of anyone better. I mean, if you want someone who's going to be able to like help bring the team, so you get one new member, and you want someone to train him to become the new Hecate.
Right.
Who better than Hecate himself?
Yeah. I agree. No one better. Bulayuli on the Inara. That's a scary sight. You would have thought maybe the Fernando would have been on the side of these guys, Bulayuli and Sadak, known for their aggressive front lines, but it is going to still be the Ruckus. I mean, Victor, and all of these guys playing out of the Solar Blessing, it's a great talent, but the problem is it is easily shut downable by the Willow, and in some regard by Death and Taxes Leon, but not really because of the impact that Rejuvenate can have to decrease that, and the fact that it's strictly 6,000 healing per second.
Yeah.
So even 90% of that is still 600 healing per second, which more than doubles other supports.
It does the one thing that you need in an instant like that, where percentage reduction is normally going to be incredibly impactful, but eventually you just get pure numbers. And once you have like a beefy enough number, even 90% of that number is huge, and that's pretty much exactly what Furia can tout. But the problem they've had so far on the side of Church of Malvonis is being able to actually hold on to the point. Every time they go in, they get a little bit of a fight. I'm kind of surprised because they are taking shots and being able to get rid of members of what is now Free Agent Boys, but it hasn't been enough to really sustain themselves and push forward with it. They haven't gotten any momentum on the back of it.
Interesting part about this is Hecate, who we thought was famously retiring from professional Paladins, is still playing, to everyone's surprise, even in production. And so we are seeing him run not only that, but a newly revamped Legendary for Cassie, which no longer scales based on the distance that you are away from your target, but just at a set distance will do 850 damage. And it's a good amount of burst. I mean, you're talking something comparable, or exactly comparable, to a Drogos rocket launcher without Fusillade. And that makes a world of difference, especially when it's coming from a champion with such a fast fire rate, with also added pressure from the blast shot, like Cassie.
And again, you're looking at a player who's using it that is known for these long-range shots, being able to play snipers at an excellent league level where before people weren't really touching snipers. Kind of, I want to say bringing them in, shepherding sniper play into maps like Stone Keep. Playing Cassie here is going to make a good fit and being able to play it at exactly this angle.
Yeah.
He's hitting the 850s on the other side. You're getting that extra bit of damage, and you're keeping the control of the game.
And you can tell Sadak knows exactly what he needs to do with this Ruckus, and now Hecate just in the back line playing like a sniper. And oh, that's so Hecate, isn't it? Just a sniper in any way, shape, or form. Even if you're not a sniper, he'll take the talent that makes you play like a sniper and play you that way. He loves to fit the game into his style, and that's what has made him such a star in Paladins in Latin America. And really, only 3 deaths across the entire team of Free Agent Boys. 2 of them belong to Nas, and only 1 to Sadak, as they have definitely returned to form.
And it's definitely in that area where you can kind of feel that they are not exactly at the same level they were before. You can see the snags that they were hitting. But I think this is a perfect game to kind of showcase where they stand, because Church of Malvonis, like, they have a bunch of players, specifically, I mean, Victor Kenningar, like a lot of people in LATAM who have been playing forever, who have been giving the exact same team on Free Agent Boys a little bit of trouble every now and then throughout the PGS and its previous format. So now this is their moment to be able to say, look, we're grinding up. We lost a little bit of talent. We're maybe shaken because we know this isn't going to be the full roster the entire time. But we still got to try.
Yeah, and they have to be careful here. There's a couple of things that they do have to watch out for. One is the Enlightenment as well, making sure that dash is not on cooldown when that happens, or just finishing off Kenningar. He had a couple of shots. Now Furia able to get the heal onto the Leon. Hecate rotating, dodging, rolling into a better position to be able to see the point of the battle. And still hitting with those 850 shots. He has found, I think, a perfect perch. And now this is given room for Sadak to play out of, to be healed by Crimson, who stayed at the elevated portion of this map.
And just being in that perfect area where, as of right now, since free agent boys aren't pushing too hard, they aren't falling too far behind, he's able to get the healing onto Puleule, who's getting up into the front line, but he's also able to heal off Akate, who's looking for these long-range poke fights so far, trying to box out with this Leon on the other side. Sadak going to be finally able to find a kill right here, but the entire time they've just been stepping on the point for a percentage for a few seconds, just every now and then.
Yeah, and it's not the quickest point capture as you're mentioning, but it is effective, and it is slowly but surely pushing them back, and I think that's what free agent boys are so good at. Is don't keep one of their favorite maps, and they know how to work these angles. There's a nice Dread Serpent from Crimson. I am Phantom, not going to be too impacted by that, but it will allow free agent boys to just, again, grab themselves an objective, and Chronosito Senpai goes down in the process.
I Am Phantom immediately follows that, but Nas again going down right there. But I feel like he's running the awkward position of I have to be the flank, and I kind of have to be the one that's starting to push forward for the team.
Right.
Yes, Ruckus can do it, and Nara can kind of do it, but
Right.
you're really looking at these guys are going to be focusing the objective. I need to open up some kills, set up Cassie.
Yeah, and I think Cassie is really, playing a different role than we would have seen with Cassie, pun intended there. And I think she's just staying more and more in this kind of sniper range, and that's not where you're typically used to seeing Cassie. You're used to seeing her get up, get involved. And with a minute and 44 seconds left, you can't say that anything has gone wrong with free agent boys. Akate looking good. Chronosito Senpai finds one onto Sadak, and Kinningar with the Enlightenment finds Akate. Dash must have been down, and they stabilized.
Even all the ults that just came out overall, I mean, you get Inflame, you get the Immortal, as well as the King Bomb. King Bomb didn't get to accomplish much. I think out of the Immortal, the Inflame, you still get a couple kills. You get a little bit of pressure. But you're looking at this 3-0, a minute and 15 left. And you're wondering, was that worth the ults that we just invested? Those are some, not necessarily like slow charging ults, but they are very, very game changing if you use them in the right time. You use them in the wrong time, and there's virtually no impact. And that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. Even Ashe just staying alive a little bit longer, but her ult completely gone.
Wow, Puleule takes so much damage from that Bomb King, and he's going to Seismic Crash. He just got surprised. He did not think that there was going to be that much damage coming through from iMain Victor, and so that was a great play from Bomb King. Crimson is by himself, but this will be at least another stall, and those ultimates getting more and more time to charge up, hoping for another round, and a defense here is Church of Malvonis. They've done everything they can to hold, and they're going to have one more chance to try and keep this defense solid.
No crazy big like team wipes, no crazy big triple kills, anything like that, but everything they've done did exactly what you said. Like, they stalled. They pushed them back just enough.
Yeah.
And as long as you can hold them back, I mean, the biggest thing you're playing against is the timer up at the top. And then overtime, if that happens to come through. Puleule, though, able to respawn, come up, back over to the payload, has his damage reduction and his support right back with him. This could end up being a little bit more trouble for Church of Malvonis since they don't have any ults available.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a problem here.
Overtime.
I think that Chronosito Senpai wishes he had an ultimate at this time, and he doesn't. Free agent boys, they're going to grab this one. And boy, oh boy, do they look like some good free agents.
Coming through. I also love, the one thing about it is when we abbreviated their name, it was just FAB.
Fab 5.
The Fab 5.
Yeah. Queer Eye. Check it out. It's a fun show. You never seen it?
I've seen it.
Okay.
I haven't binged it. I remember like when it came out, everyone was like, okay, I watched the entire season.
It's great.
Chill out just a little bit. I'm binging something else right now.
Okay, what is that, by the way? Just let the crowd know.
It's old anime. It's just a lot
Yeah,
of old
it's
anime.
usually, it's got a name, right?
Yeah, it does.
What-
I'm a little embarrassed about it.
Okay, well, what is it, Cor? I mean, just let
I've
us
been
know.
binging Naruto lately. Because it's
What's
been
embarrassing about that?
I
Classic shonen. Going to the
everyone-
maps. That's not interesting. Going to the maps here. Jeez, Gore.
I wanted to go on.
I thought
have
it was
a
something
story
spicy.
about it. No, it was
Something
nothing
juicy,
spicy,
man.
No, I've been watching it because I
thought it
remember
was like
I quit
big,
watching
etchy,
early.
kind of like,
Just because
risque.
I was so tired because I was watching it weekly whenever that was happening, like years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I quit because I was like, man, I'm so tired of this filler. And so now I'm just like, I'm watching it.
He was mad right there, too. He was
Skipping,
like, so damn tired.
skipping all of that, and was like, watch the first 50 episodes. Skip these episodes. Watch this episode. It's like, all right, this is where it's at because you don't actually miss anything. It feels great.
You know, I'm not a guy who actually likes skipping through filler, but I mean, Naruto.
It depends on the filler. So you got like 500 plus episodes. You're like, man, I'm not about that life.
I'm about to. My next big one like that is gonna probably be like One Piece, so I'm getting prepared mentally for that. 8,000 episodes
For the next 5 years.
For the next
I've
5
only
years.
watched one show.
I'll check back in you with Paladins Esports Year 8 and how One Piece is.
How does
Willow.
it end?
Yeah, exactly. It's not. It still is going on, by the way. Willow,
It's
Drogos.
really-
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Take it for Church, and I like the Drogo's pickup and the Willow pickup. Taking both of the blasters because they actually weren't banned out is the Leon and again the Anjoxus ban. So Church of Malvonis must be thinking maybe Fuzzy Logic is still on Fab, but he's not. I mean, that would only be Akate or Naz's.
I was going to say, maybe Naz is just this ridiculous Androxus. Like, they were like, who can we get that's the closest to Fuzzy Logic? And they were like, these Androxus.
I mean, and Khan not even picked here on a map like Bright Marsh. So good. Not banned out as well. I wonder if Fab are going to go for that, and they will. I mean, a 9th pick Khan? Come on.
What world do we live in today? I mean, but you do get a really solid lineup. Buck is the only one I'm a little bit on the fence about. So you don't really have any blaster on the side of Fab. Bomb King was available, but just not picked up. And Buck has seen some changes that some players are okay with because he's not first pick, first ban anymore, but they're not okay with because it just feels like you can't get your shots off the same way. Your damage reduction isn't nearly as high, so you die a lot quicker.
It'll be interesting to see how this Grok plays through. I think the Maldamba Grok pairing opens up for some more Maelstrom, but again, the cleanup crew of the Drogos, of the Willow is going to be important. They're going to have to find those last hits, but with things like Nightshade, with things like Combustible, if he decides to run it that way, it will help. I mean, this is definitely a winning lineup potentially for Church of Malvonis, but they'll have to do it against the best here in the region.
A lot that could make a big difference. Again, for most of these regions in the PGS, only the top team gets to come for the HRX qualifier, so they have a lot that will make a big difference. Even games early on for this week 1 are going to impact that.
Reign of Terror?
Is someone actually running it?
No way. We have to take a look at this. I hope he doesn't switch at the last second, and he does. Oh, what a troll. I was so excited. Meanwhile, Puleule hasn't chosen his legendary. I think that's Firing Line. I think we're just seeing Firing Line not actually have an icon. It actually could be Storm of Bullets. I'm not sure. That would make more sense to me, actually, because that's the one that we haven't seen in competitive, and so we wouldn't really know until just now. No, but it is Firing Line. And doing so much damage here as well. It's going to get the heal, albeit cauterized. And he has this little bonus damage moment. And look at that. Drogos picks a fight with someone a little bit bigger than him.
This is the strength of this lineup. You get 2 blasters that are known for being up in the air on the one side from Church. On the other side, you get hit scan, Cassie. Like, no matter what, you are going to be taking them down out of the air. It's going to be tough for Drogos in this matchup. He did go for Combustible, so he does have that a little bit of range and maybe can fight around some corners. But as of right now, he's not in a position where he can actually look around the corner.
Yeah, and it's just such a rough pickup of the Fernando, too, because Khan is the counter to that big shield. All he does is Commander's Grab, and he breaks the shield, puts it on cooldown. You know, Inara is really the only champion where she doesn't get affected by that. But again, she has no mobility, so we could throw her off the wall. It's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, but with the Fernando coming in so late for them, definitely a bad matchup against the Khan, and you can see it here. It's just complete domination so far in the early game for free agent boys.
And I mean, just watch wherever Puleule happens to be standing. Watch where he's near Naz. Watch where he's near Hecate, because whichever one he's standing next to, they're going to get a boost. They're going to be hitting a little bit harder. This is 850 right now from Cassie if he finds the right range from Hecate. If he gets
Is he running
that
just
buff,
green?
I didn't actually notice whether he was or not. But if he is,
But
and he
you're
gets a
assuming
boost,
that with your first
he's going to
statement.
get a lot.
I thought I saw
It's definitely not, because I think I keep seeing like 834s.
Yes. I mean, he doesn't have... Yeah, I thought he was running Impulse. So Gore making things up.
Well, hey, he's almost
It's
hitting
Friday.
for the 850
I'll forgive you.
because of Khan.
That's right.
Who
You're
needs
absolutely
your
correct.
loadout?
You're
and your
absolutely
talents?
correct. Firing Line giving that damage amp to the teammates around it, as well as a little bit of a heal and CC immunity. So that's going to be huge coming into this next point fight, especially when you have the slows coming through from Grok on the ultimate and the Tempest. You also have EA is dead, really making a gaming political statement there, but also talking about, I think, just the fact that his Maldamba's Dread Serpent is not really going to work. It's going to be about the Limp Noodle thrown into a very sturdy ship.
It's not going
Will
to
not be sinking.
anywhere near as impactful as you would want. And the same thing you said about like Fernando shield, right? You get a Dread Serpent, you have a shield, maybe your team is safe. There's no shielding. There's no way that he's going to be able to find the control. Maybe you can catch out Cassie, try to get someone in solo ult, but then you use this big team fight ult on one champion.
And you know what actually was so surprising? They all left Hecate to do his own thing. And you know what? At that point, the surprise that I saw from them is Buck is just so damage amp right now. Nas is going to be so deadly. He had the Inflame and the damage boost from Khan. That is, I think, 50% damage added onto Buck and his sustain, plus 30% movement speed, plus CC immunity, and 1,000 heal to boot. That was a special, special time for him, and he gets a double kill and stabilizes for Free Agent Boys.
Seems to be surviving just fine. Doesn't matter whether he has the damage reduction. He's not in your face all the time.
Doing okay.
But he's doing pretty all right.
I'm all right.
As well as way things go, Nas is in this area where, again, you're looking at someone who has been playing around for a while, has been in this area, but now is kind of stepped up. I want to say to like the big leagues with this team. This is the team that always comes to land, the team that always ends up doing well, the team that almost was able to become a world champion. Like, they are in that area where you have to fill some pretty big shoes when Fuzzy Logic leaves. So right now, I think he's doing that just fine.
And, you know, you could just tell this is not a game where Church of Malvonis feel competitive. I mean, to be able to treat a Grok that way, to be so slow, to be under such little pressure is not normal. I mean, you wouldn't see this in a high-level diamond ranked game. Like, you would feel more pressure in that. Like, this is an extreme difference in terms of either how these teams feel like their composition is able to play against one another. We already mentioned Free Agent Boys having some advantages in the front line, but also just damage-wise, I mean, to get the better end of that with their damage amp when it comes into play. But Church of Malvona is just not having answers. Too much hit scan, too much pressure from Akate. It's not quite hit scan on the Cassie, but it can be if you have a player that good hitting you midair.
And my big question has been, I mean, one of the things we mentioned earlier was Dead Zone.
Yeah.
I've been seeing them around, but I haven't really seen them impactful. I haven't seen them land on the payload, stopping someone from actually getting healed. They've just been in this area where it feels like it was for that little bit of a burst or something, but nothing came out of them.
My man, I mean, that was such a fast game here on Bright Marsh. Free Agent Boys are going to clean it up real quick, and I'm going to say, why are they a free agent? Somebody go ahead and sign these guys. But first of all, see if Akate is going to keep playing or not. And maybe he's just waiting for a deal. Maybe he's posturing.
That might be the big opening, because I mean, I think what he had said was that he had, I think, a second job or something that he was working, so he had a lot of hours. He couldn't commit as much to Paladins, and he didn't want to bring his team down because he couldn't practice. Maybe you get the right org in there, you get a couple funding, and all of a sudden, Kate's absolutely open to keep playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does definitely come down to finances for a lot of these guys, and that is, to me, what I hope it doesn't in the future, and where I want to keep seeing Paladins grow and how we're going to try to work for that, where there is no issue, even from a PGS level, to where finances are questionable for these guys, because they're putting on great shows every week. They're bringing a lot of talent to the scene. And eventually, we're seeing a lot of teams, and the list keeps growing, of PGS players that are now in the PPL and salaried. And if they're going to be that quality, I mean, at that point, the Amateur League needs to keep getting invested too. So very excited to see the way that Free Agent Boys have done it, and all of our best wishes to Akate at whatever he decides. But so far, so good for us who get to watch him play this week. Let's take a look at the schedule. Coming up, we have Zaga, Talent Gaming, ZTG, and Automata Rain, which is a team name we've seen for quite a while.
I'm expecting this one, especially compared to the first one, I feel a lot closer. But just because, again, you're looking at the team, and this happens with a lot of the regions, whereas there's one team, Space Station Gaming, or I guess it used to be B5, but now it's not really B5 since they've all split up and are on pretty much 3 of the 4 teams that are in CIS.
Yeah.
But you always have that one team that is just, we're going to dominate pretty much every single game. Your job as the other 3 is to catch up. And the other 3 are all neck and neck, except for maybe SEA, where everyone's neck and neck.
Yeah, and that's, exactly. SEA, a little bit tighter around the waist in terms of the competition there. But we will obviously still be able to see who is maybe trying to fill the void. I think for me in Latin America, it's about if Akate steps up, if there are these questions around Free Agent Boys or whatever they become in terms of their org, who fills that void? Who comes in? Who maybe makes a statement on one of these teams in one of these sets and catches the eye of Sadak and Crimson and Puleole and says, ooh, okay, we might be able to make use of you.
You are absolutely allowed in to this club. To fill in these shoes that we need. We're going to familiar settings. It's Bright Marsh again.
And a fish market, a Frozen Guard ban and a Frog Isle ban. And that usually tells you that Frog Isle, if that's available, that there's a confidence level in this team, right? I think Automata Rain, in terms of confidence, that's a fast map. That's a quick map. It's one of the oldest maps. When you know how to play it, you love taking teams there because it's a 6-minute game. You're done and you finish up the set. You don't give them a chance to breathe. But I don't know. If Automata Rain are banning that, to me that says that's a different mentality. Maybe they are expecting a very, very close set and maybe one where they're not the favorite.
And that's one of those moments. I think Frog Isle is very polarized because if you are close, well, if you know the map, yeah, you can find a 4-0. You can do 6 minutes and be done quick.
Yeah.
At the same time, if you're neck and neck with the other team, they can do the exact same thing. So you have to wonder, where are we going to give this push and pull? Last time we had a team with Drogos and Willow. This time we don't get either.
Yeah, well, band out or pick together. It seems like they are two peas in a pod
No blasters.
today. Yeah, no blasters. Unless you want to bring out the Bomb King, and that is something that Zaga might be able to do. They take the Fernando. Cassie taken as a first pick for Automata Rain, so that shows a little bit of where they are. And Ar and Fernando taken, so they take their opportunity to just steal the good frontliners, or at least the ones they want, very early.
Being able to limit a little bit more of what Rain have here. Could control, but I mean, you get Cassie, Fury, Leon, you're pretty comfortable. And I don't know if you care as much now what frontlines you get, because they're not going to die that easily. You're going to be able to apply a lot of Cauterize, but here's this Androxus that's been banned out 2 games in a row. And I'm kind of wondering, Vlad Am just has like the best Androxus players, that it's worthwhile.
Or, I mean, at least it's in the culture. When you have one person who dominates on it,
Yeah.
then it starts to be like, I need to play it, and I see it more often. And I think that maybe was what's happening in Latin America. The Shaolin, man, we haven't seen him in a long time. Pair with the Barrack. I got to say that this is an interesting style of triple DPS. We don't see a Genos. We do see the Furia. But I'm not expecting it to underperform because, you know, as much as Genos gives you that damage amp, Furia gives you the Light of Dawn shield. So it's a little bit of extra protection, whereas maybe the damage isn't there, but maybe you stay alive longer.
And I'm interested to see Shaolin. So they didn't go for a flank, and I feel like normally you kind of see with 3 DPS, I guess the composition is always to have at least 1 flank, right?
Yeah.
You'll have 2 DPS plus 1 flank, or 2 flanks plus 1 DPS. Something to keep a little bit of range while a lot of your fight is still going to be closer. But here, Shaolin, I feel like, is the idea is to fill that role. Withdraw used to be one of the best abilities, I think, to get you into the back line and cause a lot of trouble. But it's changed a little bit. He's not going to have the same talents that he did. He got a little bit of a nerf, so not going to be able to run with extra time on his withdrawal and being able to stay invisible that a little bit longer. So I'm kind of curious as to whether Wagek, I mean, he's not going to go for it. He's going to be going for damage more.
Yeah, explosive arrow, and we can take a look at his loadout too, because we haven't seen Shaolin's in quite a while.
And
So
begins.
Wagek, I actually kind of like that pronunciation, or Wajik. I think Wagek.
Wagek
It's kind of
feels
interesting. Run them down. So after he hits that, he's going to get 30% movement speed. This is kind of an earlier tradition, return to form. And the initial
has drawn first
instance
blood.
where Shaolin received this 4th legendary. And so a lot of movement speed here, a lot of ability to chase down a target or move away after he hits him with that AoE blast. And Nara just going to be too tanky to really care about it. He's going to need some healing, and he gets it. But still, good control from Zaga. Talent Gaming already 42% on the objective.
And this is going to be, I think, the problem I'm going to have with Shaolin pretty much all game. He doesn't really have a spot that he feels like he can push in, right? Last time we would see Shaolin on this map, he'd be on the side, flipping behind you, coming up. He'd be fighting Victor right now. Right now, he's looking at Nara and trying to figure, how do I get past this rock?
Yeah, and he doesn't see the Androxus go way up. I think the bigger thing is that Shaolin with Desert Shadow and with Withdraw is the ability to flank in the back line. And that's what has been so devastating. Moondog here absolutely just loving the fact that he could just play behind the cover of his front line. There's nobody who's been allowed to go into the back line. Obviously, the damage hurts when it happens, but it hasn't happened at all. And they've just had so much control here. It's a full 100-0, essentially, for Zaga Talent Gaming.
He almost made that jump, too. It was just one of those, he's using good movement, being able to get the high ground, having this little bit of extra vision. And again, we've been seeing a lot of Victors. You can tell he's gone Shrapnel, not burst mode, just because he's still firing full auto. But with the way things have gone, you're looking at this grenade being augmented. I'm kind of curious, what loadout cards does he have? Just because he does seem to be holding, he doesn't have Hot Potato. That's the one I was looking for, because he doesn't seem to be like tossing it off real fast. The cook time's going to be held, so he's holding onto that grenade a little bit longer. But a lot of this is augmenting his aim.
Yeah, firing stance as well. I mean, firing stance 5, something that actually NIP Bird has said one of the better cards for Victor to be able to use. And I think this is a standard, but a little bit of a traditional, atypical style, especially considering the current meta. Enlightenment just to counter out Seismic Crash, but it ends up being Anaro who gets the last laugh there. Perangel falls back, gets a little bit of healing, but not quite enough here. It does seem like Zaga Talent Gaming are on a rampage and are having a hard time being stopped.
That's just one of those things. Their composition is really well built to stall or stop Automata Rain in this kind of build out, or this loadout. With the way things have been going, you have Androxus to get behind him, beside him, in front of him, whatever he absolutely needs to do, and he's going to be able to take him down. Then you pick up Victor for the long range, and then 2 front lines that are never going to die with Maldamba.
Wow.
You have to have a stellar performance, and a triple kill for Wigek is probably the best way to start it.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want, and this is what Shaolin can do. He's running the Candy Cane Pain, and he is giving gifts to all of Automata Rain. Excuse me, Zaga Talent Gaming. It just rhymes so much better that way. 37 seconds left. Will he be able to hold this right side, though? That's the big question. Ice Monkey is proven to be devastating on this Fernando, and he's just forced everyone back into the corner. The Inflame was used as well, and that's not up. So there are some issues here in terms of this defense.
Good shots so far. Good damage coming out of the Shaolin. But again, this is where I think you're going to start seeing the stalls come out. Where do you kill? You can get rid of the shield. The front line's finally starting to take a lot of damage. Because they're stacked up, this explosive arrow is going to be able to do a lot. And Androxus dashes into the wrong area. Does get stunned out, but again, no one's falling just yet, except for Automata Rain.
Yeah, or the guard here for the Inara is going to be very hard. He's going for the backline Moondog, and this is smart. This is actually a really good pick. It's the thing that might help. I think if I'm him, just a little bit of damage off as much as possible. And now you force away Exterminia. And so I got your Red Pixel here doing a good job, and this could be a stabilization because of the fact that they were able to get rid of the Victor, the shrapnel damage, and the high DPS in an overtime situation like this. Fernando will still be back. Victor will be showing up soon, but the disengage.
That was perfect.
Actually enough.
And it was not just knocking him back, but knocking him over the hump behind that wall. So he can't just dash up the hill back to the payload. He is in this area where now I have to go around the corner. All you need in overtime is a couple seconds. And that's exactly what that disengage was able to buy.
Triple kill.
And still using Bullseye. And I think, when you look at Bullseye and you look at Quicksand, these 2 cards that he has, they're still really good. And I could see him going up higher in Bullseye. I don't mind Bullseye 5, even though you're not using your Desert Shadow, your withdraw kind of style of play where you're using that is your main focus of how you do damage and how you get into the back line and move around the map. I just think it's so much more valuable. I mean, instant resets of that Impaler arrow, instantly ability to just get your withdraw, even if it's defensively, just to go backwards like we saw many times when he was aggressed on by the Inara. So far, a really good start for him, and he takes the left side, and it makes all the difference here.
You were talking about map bans showing confidence. I feel like Bullseye levels also show like your level of confidence. How many kills am I going to be getting this game? And looking at level 3, it's going to be helpful, it's going to be useful, and you're going to be able to come through a completely different showing from the team early on. But I feel like you're seeing what the lack of a Genos does in this kind of composition. Yeah, you've got good DPS, but is it going to be enough to hold on to it? 1-1, 27% down. You'll catch up in no time.
Whoa.
How's the hold?
Yeah, and I think maybe here you might heat haze. You just might heat haze just as they're coming back and approaching. There it is. He's going for it. He's going to try to find the Maldama. They can't see him, obviously, until he fires an arrow now. So Moondog is his target. He knows exactly where he wants to go, but he's got to wait and get some of his health. Moondog's going to kill him quickly. In fact, it's Exterminia. And so for me, I think that was the wrong choice. It will work out in the end. I got your Red Pixel. Says, hey, you did enough, buddy. Let me go ahead and steal this one for you and take control. And that's going to be Automata Rain coming through and grabbing objective number 2 here in this game.
And a lot of control and push gained from that. And a lot of it is, we've been watching Shaolin a lot, but I feel like you're seeing I got your Red Pixel in this area where he's just sitting in the back line and he's cleaning up. Like, he's not looking for these stellar plays. They're just kind of happening because he's looking for those opportunities when they open. And you can see those moments where, I want to say, his head stays maybe a little bit more level under the pressure than you're seeing out of like Shaolin. He goes around, he doesn't know where this Maldama that he was trying to aggress on goes. Yeah. He doesn't know where Victor is. Okay, I'll shoot Fernando. It's like, you're stealthed, you're like invisible right now. Relax for a second.
Yeah.
Find your next shot, then decide to go in. Let Fernando do whatever he's going to do, and then engage.
And that timing is so crucial because half a second later, maybe he's gotten out of combat, he's gotten full health, and then it's 2 more seconds that it takes to kill him, and that's just time on the point. I got your Red Pixel has more room to work with. It was enough. And so he must have felt confident and said, just get as much damage on the point as possible. Try and finish down Fernando. And Moondog is really the key. I think if he goes down to Wigek, it's going to be a totally different fight for Zaga Talent Gaming. But if Wigek keeps dominating like this, oh man, almost getting the quadra kill and the pentakill potentially, it is going to be Automata Rain storming through in terms of this game. It is completely turned around, and it's about to be a 3-1. And it looks like, I don't know, unless they can get Wigek, it is going to happen.
The team feels completely different. Dread Serpent comes through, they're throwing out their ults, they're trying to get some kills, but Moondog goes down. Extra Mini is going to be the next target planted, canceled, but it doesn't matter. I got your red pixels, got your back as well, and now they're going to be setting themselves up. 2 front lines. Immortal has to get used.
You got to get the Moldamba off here. It doesn't matter. So much damage. Oh my god, Inflamed Shaolin hitting for 1209 on a basic attack. He didn't even have the Impaler arrow. That would have been a 1,500 damage burst. That's just nasty. That's just wrong.
I mean, that team was just a complete different side of the moon from what we saw in the first round. It seems like there was like that slow warm-up period where they're like, how do I play Shaolin? How do I play Shaolin? Oh, right, Shaolin, this guy. Yeah, we go way back. 12-3 right now, 11-4 for I Got Your Red Pixel. These two guys are doing so much work. And it's just that push and pull. I'm going to get him low, you can clean him up. Or I'm going to get him low, you clean him up. Whichever way, it works.
I hit him high, you hit him low.
1.
I'll shoot the feet, you shoot the head. Always aim for headshots.
You use the cross, I'll use the long bow.
No.
Oh, and he's just, this left side has been so much better for him versus the right side where Inara has really challenged him here. I think he sniffed something out. He knows that Fernando hasn't showed himself yet. He's waiting for Ice Monkey, but it's getting too good. It's taking too much time. The patience from Ice Monkey is really proven to be valuable. And Ice Monkey here just protecting the victor, and that's ending up being the decisive factor in this fight. Comeback mechanic as well for Zaga Talent Gaming. That was a big kill onto Wigek.
Being able to set themselves up. Ice Monkey gets another kill on the Got Your Red Pixel. And this is what you need. You have comeback mechanic. That's all you really need to start opening this up. You push in, Dome Shield goes down, but it's not going to be enough to defend on its own. You need your healer to come through. That's a beautiful stun, a beautiful double.
Oh, Bowling Ball and Furia. Too many shields, too much healing. He knows Shaolin is somewhere with an Inflame. What's he going to do? Wigek says, see you later, Snex. Is he going to try to find it back? Moondog bites off more than he can chew. Oh, man, Automata Rain look like they may just close it out here after a turnaround performance from Wigek and the Shaolin on Explosive Arrow.
I have now something that's going to come into my nightmares, and that is an Inflamed Shaolin. 1,500 on that right click if you charge it just enough, and you're probably going to see a lot of it. I mean, you don't even get to see how much damage he does. They die too quick.
Oh, and that's a good Dread Serpent, though. But this is a good stun as well. They need Moldamba to heal, but cauterizes have been built up. And Automata Rain, Sir Unknown, just doing the right decision there, just taking time. Inara's going to get healed. Can't finish her off. Go ahead and get I Got Your Red Pixel back in the position to be able to score. And this is what's happening. Goals and goals and goals galore. I don't care whether you call it soccer, whether you call it football. It seems like Automata Rain have found the answer to the points. And that's them grabbing their fourth. That's them getting the win here in the second set of Latin America.
That was, again, like just from the way round one went, I was like, this is going to be a 3-3. It's going to kind of trudge along, and then they just showed up. Like, it literally
Crazy,
just
man.
looked like they flipped a switch, and we're like, okay, wait, actually, we know what we're doing. We have Cassie and Shaolin, which is a deadly combination if played properly.
Such a good kind of, I think, environment for this team, too. In Bright Marsh, usually these games are relatively quick, but they had the ability to kind of absorb a strong offense against them, have the first point fight not work out, and then immediately make an adjustment. As we head to map 2, it's now up to the side of Zaga Talent Gaming to be able to adjust the same way Automata Rain have. Mid-map, probably the hardest thing to do. Mid-game, after 1 point, and completely change the tone of a matchup. That is something that I think has put Automata Rain as far as the favorites in my mind. And now it's up to Zaga to be able to deal with it. And I wonder if we'll see a Shaolin ban or a prioritization in terms of picks.
I mean, last time it was Willow Drogos. This time they're going to go Cassie Leon, and it's in that area where, okay, now these blasters are open. You still have Shaolin, and this is a map that I feel like you used to be able to see him on, but again, having the change to like Desert Shadow, maybe looking more towards that explosive arrow, he's not going to be anywhere near as high priority.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's just a matter of comfort. Honestly, I think anybody can take Shaolin into the matchup and dominate a game. He is one of the top carries in Paladins. I think you throw him, you throw Zen out there, maybe you throw a Cassie, and then, of course, Leon's in the conversation. I mean, maybe even a Drogos or a Willow, right? You're starting to get those top top 5 carries that really, when they get supported with a heal like a Furia or a Luminary Genos, they take over the game. And there's no way to stop them as long as that player is hitting their shots. So I liked already the draft from Zaga. How do you feel it's going to combat against this Victor, though?
I mean, I feel like right now, well, with Buck and Fury, I think they have just enough to answer it. As long as Buck can get around the map the way he does, Serpent Beach is going to lend itself a little bit more to him getting to this Victor. But now he has to deal with Victor and Shaolin in the background. You can't just do that. Willow, you're looking at the front line, so Buck has a lot on his plate to deal with.
Yeah, Buck is going to be in a world of trouble. But so will this Willow if she does not watch out. Shaolin, despite not having Desert Shadow, is the legendary that we saw go for last time. And with the nerfs in 1.4, we can expect an explosive arrow. It still doesn't mean that he can't be crafty, that he can't touch a few members there. And with Bullseye 3 or 4, right, he's allowing himself to maybe hit 3 members on the enemy team. That's 30% cooldown reduction off of every player that goes down. So in a fight, you know, maybe he only kills 1, but another falls. That's 60% total cooldown reduction. He might get his explosive arrow or his withdraw back right away. And it's I Got Your Red Pixel, who's now switched on. And it's going to be Wigek, who's on the Makoa. That makes sense.
I don't mind this change-up with the way things have been going for them. It's one thing to be able to switch, I guess, from Cassie over to Shaolin. They do fire relatively similar, although he does have a lot more drop-off with his projectile, so you're going to have to take that into account. The good thing is, if you charge it up all the way, it essentially flies straight like a hit scan.
Yeah, I mean, look at that already. Really horrible start for Zaga Talent Gaming. They lose about all of Fernando's life. I Got Your Red Pixel holding this left corridor, but he's got to be careful for the dead zone cooldown. Oh, and he finds Nyx already. I mean, that's just the power of it. I mean, you can see he's got it back that quickly because of the fact that he's gotten eliminations onto 2 members. That's another elimination. He's got it in 3 seconds yet again. And so I Got Your Red Pixel showing the impact of Explosive Arrow, not just the damage, but the ability to tap multiple enemies and take advantage of Bullseye even more than with Desert Shadow.
And here you're going to start seeing, I want to say, the separation, something we were talking about, I think, yesterday, where you're looking at some explosive damage as well as some hit scan damage coming down from Victor, direct damage. Haven versus, you know, going for your blast shield, wherever you're looking at. You're going to have grenades that are flying in from around corners into walls that you can't dodge all of a sudden from Victor, as well as this explosive arrow that you're going to have to worry about the burst damage. There's a lot in terms of just all-round damage from Automata Rain.
And it does feel like they just started to get their rhythm, right? Maybe for round 1 was just a little weird, didn't know who they were playing, but now they've just found the answer, and this Shaolin is something that apparently Zaga Talent Gaming have no idea how to deal with. I mean, I wonder if we're going to start to see some Illuminates purchased. I mean, even though he's not running Desert Shadow, it's just like, what do we do? Like, they have had no answer for when Shaolin has started to perform. Absolutely none.
And they don't really have a draft that deals with it well. I mean, you're looking, again, Buck is the only one who can reliably get back to Shaolin, chase Shaolin down, and deal enough damage faster than Shaolin. But unfortunately, with the way things have gone, again, less damage reduction, he has less confidence jumping into that backline. And he has Victor to deal with as well, let alone the Makoa that's going to be helping try and fight that.
That was a little bit of a problem there. All correct, Gore, but at that same time, I Got Your Red Pixel just misplaced. The first one of the game that we've seen thus far. He just actually misses the explosive arrow on the Fernando. Fernando stays nice and healthy. Exterminia rotates with the Victor, and that's just done did. 1 minute, 20 seconds left. Automata Rain losing their healer. Going to back off, just hold, and try to regroup to make maybe a couple more pushes before this round is over.
A little over a minute left, so they do have a lot of options. That's the grenade that I think you're going to have to be worried about. There's just multiple, and we've been talking about it, a lot of members yesterday. They're going Haven. They're like, man, how do we deal with this rifle? Victor, he's direct damage. That's what we're going to have to look at. But that grenade does a lot of unsung damage, and that really is what sets him up. And you get that with the explosive arrow. I mean, you're looking at people getting 2-shot from 2 separate people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's something very important to think about. As Wigek is doing well, whether on the Shaolin or whether on the Makoa. Interesting how they made the choice, but it seems to be a positive interaction for both players. Khan with the firing line, getting the CC immunity. We could see ourselves in Ancient Rage here. It would be a little bit of a risk, and they're just going to let Moondog and the rest of the team stop them for now. But this is one of the most dangerous zones because 20 seconds left gives people enough time to get back, Gore, especially if you overzone. Khan has lost his shield now. He's got to wait for that to fully recharge, and he's going to back off enough to allow them to at least get in the conversation of starting that overtime.
The question is whether or not you want to see someone dive onto it,
Right.
which is actually what they're going to be going for. There's
They are
Makoa,
going.
there's the Dome Shield. He's going to be able to get there just in time
Ancient
to be able
Rage.
to get that overtime. He has the Ancient Rage, like you just mentioned, so he has that survivability, but everyone on his team's starting to fall around him.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's a problem, because they didn't really check to see if they were going to get one of those trades. They didn't end up getting any of them, and they used the Ancient Rage. The benefit, however, is that they get the Inflame. Now, the Inflame is one of those ultimates where you have an Inflame against you, and everyone else on the enemy team is like, man, we kind of lost this fight. We have to pull back. There's really no way with everyone just being 30% faster and 30% more damaging that we're going to win this easily. So you don't have to deal with that, and I think that may have just put Automata Rain in a better position.
Now you're in this spot, though. Ancient Rage usually takes a little longer to charge back up, and Flame should come up sometime during this round, especially if Snex has gone for the morale boost, which he has. It's one of those things you don't really need Chronos like you do on other supports for Furia, just because once you run her loadout cooldowns, it's so low that you can't actually put it any lower. 25%, et cetera, et cetera. Like going all the way, you don't get anything until you hit max Chronos. So you have to spend, what, 1,200 credits plus all the rest to get there. And then you get a 1 second cooldown. Or, 1 second off the top.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, I'm now healing you in 2.5.
Oh, man, and did you know that Barrage hits midair? Well, if you didn't, now you do. See you later, Moondog. Lycazor finds 2. And that's just the most free point fight I think I've ever seen in Paladins.
I really want to make a joke about Willow flying into the air and they were just going to the Moondog, but it feels very forced, so I just decided to sell it like that instead.
He tried to go to the moon, dog, but he hit his head.
But he hit his head on a giant missile.
Yeah, it's a mechanic we don't often see. You know, when Victor's on the opposite side of a Drogoz, you'll sometimes see it in thrust, but that was like pretty much the best direct kind of approach to it. And actually, because Drogoz is a little bit more maneuverable with his booster as well as that, a little bit harder to hit him with the Barrage because he can move out of it. But the Willow, once she gets up there, uses the Flutter, she's a little bit of a sitting duck, or sitting fairy, or a flying fairy. You know what, let's just stop worrying about how we describe that. 81% for Zaga talent.
Able to catch up, no problem. Right now, this point fight is going to be important for Automata to be able to get back in here. They've been having issues dealing with this con, and that is just another good reason he's so strong. Sets up the Makoa on a platter.
Wow.
And that's all you need.
And you're right, Gore. I mean, the Inflame is the final thing that secures it for them. Just comes in at the last second. So with such a great start from Automata Rain, it is a better play around immediately losing the Willow. And that is something to talk about, Gore. I mean, the fact that they just realized this fight is over, we should back off, we've lost this Willow, give them 60%. Who cares if you got 60%? You need 100. They come back full storm, they get the full reset, they get the full wipe, and it results in a full point.
And that's normally, I think, one of those scenarios that we actually encounter talking, I want to say more negatively about, because they had comeback mechanic on the other side, and you lost one member and then did a full retreat. This time, we know exactly how long they're going to capture this, how long it's going to take to capture this. We have a little bit of time to regroup. All we have to do is wait, and Flame's going to charge up, no problem. We're getting a lot of healing, hit scan damage into the back. Victor dies. Like, once you win that one team fight, you're set.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm very excited to see. Look at this. Just again, say hello to my little friends. But this time, Willow actually avoids it. And it's really not so much the Willow. Victor would have been able to see him. But this little pillar to the right is actually what blocked the line of sight. And so it was a little bit of a reactionary thing. And unfortunately, Moondog reaches the moon and has many tales of its bright, luminescent circumference to share with Victor.
Now setting themselves up. I think Willow so far has been the game-changing pick right now for Zaga, where everything on their team works out really well together, but Willow is in this position compared to what we saw last game. These dead zones are having a lot more of an impact. You're finding these 1v1 fights a lot easier just like that. And it comes to the point where Shaolin hasn't shown up the way he did last game.
I think the biggest thing here is that whoever gets the momentum is going to be able to snowball this.
Yes.
Because they're basically both. You look at Willow's loadout, you're going to see Just Believe at a high level, and it's basically elimination reduction. And so whenever you get cards or champions who are played around, I get an elimination, then I get that much better. It's basically another word for snowballing. So if you're able to have Shaolin do that, it's going to be devastating. If Willow can do that, it's devastating. So whoever's winning is going to win harder. But what shows strongly here is Automata Rain, with 10 seconds left, are able to stabilize very efficiently. to where this could be a defense for sure.
And picking off the right target. Buck being the one left to try and get the overtime. I mean, just look at that grenade. It literally takes most of his health bar, but that does hold it long enough for Anar to get back. Ice Monkey is going to fall down. Fernando, I think, just respawned, so he's going to be stuck over there towards his base. Moondog not able to escape this time.
Yeah, and I mean, just that's the difficulty of the fact that you have vertical mobility on a map with a lot of corridors and rooms, and your healer doesn't. Obviously, you can't get that Cherish heal up. And this is just good stuff for Moondog. And look at the cooldowns, right? Look at the cooldown resets. They just come right back up. You'll see that dead zone used once he gets the kill. Look at it drop from 10 seconds to 4. That's how it works. That's the big deal. And also, it's going to take 50% of the total cooldown and apply it at that time. So that's the biggest difference. It's not going to say, oh, 50% of whatever you got left. It's 50% of the total cooldown applied.
And that's why important fights, it's one of those things, especially with how long it lasts. I throw out a dead zone. It's going to sit there for a few seconds.
Yeah.
We keep fighting. I have 5 seconds left. Boom, reset when I get the kill. All of a sudden, I fire another dead zone. I start another fight. And it's just, again, like you said, snowball. You're just keeping yourself going. Keep the ball rolling as best you can. Maybe find a shot in at the beginning of the round.
Oh, that's a beautiful Faye flight. This one is where you want to do it because she's got pressure. And then it's going to be more and more easily able to collapse onto the remaining targets. I mean, this is just everything going well except that flutter. So close.
Almost.
It's like, you know, you do the pirouette, finish, you bow, and you kind of like trip on your laces and fall a little bit.
Like that small stutter where you like lose just that last second of balance.
It was like so cool until that one moment, and you kind of like
that's
trip.
the last moment, so that's all anyone ever remembers.
And that's the one that's on camera, right? That's where they take the photo. It lives forever. 84%. The only thing good about that was that it was such a clean wipe that maybe Automata Rain can touch back onto the objective. It seems like it's going to be a very tough thing. Zaga Talent Gaming not making it easy. Snex finding 2. And the Inflame is coming up very soon. I would say that this is Zaga Talent all the way home. Spray just to confirm it.
One of the things I was gonna say earlier, and I'm really glad I didn't, but I'm gonna out myself now, is that first round, I was like, man, compared to what we saw earlier, you can see like the pluses and minuses of Con, right? Earlier on Bright March, when we saw it being played by Free Agent Boys, it looks ridiculously good. That first round, it wasn't that clean.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing that same level of play where all of a sudden it's just Khan standing in the middle, he's shooting you over here, shielding his teammates, tossing you around. Like, there's no amount of control you have to lock this man down.
And this is also a really strong Inflame because, oh, big headshot there. I mean, that's the difference of Buck. If he hits a headshot, totally different champion. If he hits normal shots or he hits 400, 300, you know, yes, he's surviving. But headshots, I mean, that's not what you count on with Buck. And when he gives you that, it's just an incredible feeling. Zaga Talent Gaming in a great spot. Khan hasn't died in a long time. Buck hasn't died in a long time. Furia hasn't died in a long time. 46%. They just use it in Flame. My God. That thing charges like a monster. This could be Automata Rain not even having a chance to use their Ancient Rage until it's basically useless.
Being able to go forward, you have 2 members left alive. Even if Ancient Rage had been able to come out, I don't know if it would have accomplished
I don't think he used it.
No, it's still there.
Wow.
Taking down Turtle Soup.
Taking down Turtle Soup.
Makoa died. And it was Inflame, so like you like the...
So you inflame your soup. That's what you're telling me.
To cook soup, you got to put it on fire.
So the Inflame happened, and you said because Makoa is a turtle.
Yeah, he makes turtle soup.
He makes turtle soup.
That's how it works.
So where's the water?
You're at Serpent Beach. You're surrounded by water.
Yes, you're right. That's right. Good call.
That's
good call. You have an
my
answer
way
for
of
everything.
trying to make
You have an
that
answer
because
for everything.
otherwise I don't have an answer.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well,
Where's
turtle
the
soup
pot?
from Makoa. Yeah, what's the pot? I don't know if you have an answer for that one.
His shell. Can you cook turtle soup in the shell?
Yeah.
That probably
Actually,
that's kind of rude.
That's like the pineapple rice that comes in the fried
though.
rice pineapple that comes in the half carved out pineapple at like a Thai restaurant. That's what that turtle soup would be. I wouldn't have it.
That's rude. Like you are like the turtle's already dead. Like don't cook it in his dead shell. Like that's just mean.
Or it's already dead, so who cares?
That's so mean.
2 different approaches.
What
I
if the
suppose.
turtle's ghost is watching you and he's like, "Come on, dude."
You mean like Davy Jones locker ghost
Like-
Makoa?
He's got the pirate and everything going on. He's gonna haunt you for the rest of your life. You're gonna start hearing pirate music all the time.
I know.
Every now and then, a vase will get hooked off of the shelf.
I love pirates. I really, really do. Cassie, Shaolin, Khan, Torval, banned out. Seems to be like 2 damage dealers and then 2 front lines. Always just, you know, one team's like, damage dealers are really good. Front lines are really good. And then they kind of meet in the middle because they're still decent variety of both to choose from. But we are close to seeing a Makoa ban there, and then all of a sudden we start to look at an economy that's very difficult for a frontline to be picked, and some of these picks will then have to adjust that way. Zaga's still happy with the Willow.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy with the way they were able to approach all of this as well, just because unless I feel like one of these teams is pulling out a sniper, they deal with pretty much most of the range. There's going to be the sniper. I actually didn't think Automata Rain was going to be the one that did it. I thought it was going to be Zaga trying to pull that out, box the Leon with it. Because you get rid of Cassie, you get rid of Shaolin, both of them adept at this map, and they have that range. Now you're forcing into some uncomfortable positions.
See, you know what? Man, when I see a Strix, I'm kind of like, that's free. I'm kind of like, that's free on this map. I mean, I know Strix has just such a great line of sight here, but he is so, if you can get to him, he is so immobile. There is just nowhere he can go. Knessa, totally different story. And so they take the approach of just trying to match him from range, wherein they could have taken the Androxus. They could have taken something like that that would have been able to get up towards him. And I think if you start to see Koga available, you're going to see Koga fill in those roles, right? Where it's like, oh, we need somebody to dive to the back line who's relatively safe at doing so. I mean, that's going to ward off all of these Strix picks right here. But so far, not the case.
My eyes is not only going to be on the Sniper 1v1, but also on this Androxus, just because that could be the biggest difference in making that 1v1 a 2v1. I got your red pixel this time around, going to be the one on the Strix. Exterminia on that Knessa. And so whichever one, I mean, Strix usually gets that first shot.
Is that crack shot? That's
misses,
crack shot Strix, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe he's looking to jump down, get in her face.
Well, you know, he's just really ready to be dealing with whoever shows up. I mean, that's the big thing for me. It's he knows he's relatively approachable, so to speak. It's like a guy at the bar who doesn't seem like he's too doing his own thing out of the league. And you're like, all right, let me go ahead and talk to him. Let me go say what's up. And at this point, Ice Monkey is like, all right, let me go talk to Strix. He's got no qualms about taking that big Leviathan health pool and that shell that's going to serve as a great start for Turtle Soup. But it is going to be a quick change on the unauthorized use. So everything I said, just completely delete that from your minds.
Not only that, but he did go for Haven first, so he recognizes exactly what kind of engagement he's finding himself in. But that Eagle Eye, the thing Knessa's running, her talent, 50% extra damage on a headshot.
Oh,
still going to be able to find one, but if you find 5 in a row like that, that's all you need is Androxus.
I mean, that's a big deal. Heads will roll, absolutely playing to the namesake here. Still Zaga Talent Gaming with great control, but they have now forced them down to that low ground. Exterminia, though, taking Wagek, and this is not looking good for Automata Rain, who have grabbed themselves the Strix, but oh boy, Likazor is just chomping at the bit. Anybody who comes in his way is getting headshot.
Unfortunately for them, again, a lot of this is you've got the damage, you've got some of the control on the side.
Oh
Where's
my
the control
God!
on the point? He has to get
What?
in there, and that's going to be the shot, and it's just decimating people. It is destroying them left and right. 2 headshot talents being run, but Knessa, I just don't know if she can keep up with the speed.
We're on Fish Market, and apparently the only thing they're selling are headshots. I mean, everyone gets a headshot. Exterminia finding it. Androxus, I don't think he hit a shot that wasn't a headshot. Incredible performance from him. Another one. Eagle Eye sends him to the grave. This is just headshot central. It must be half off. It's buy one, get one free. Fish Market. Man, great place to spend a Paladins Friday afternoon.
Being able to set themselves up, the last game, actually, for this PGS today, just with the way things go. Whoever wins is going to be able to taking this set. And as of right now, Exterminia is doing whatever he can to make sure his name is the one that you see signed at the bottom, no one else.
I mean, I've had these games. I've luckily recorded some of them, unluckily recorded not most of them, but there are those times where you feel it. You
Your
get
best Knessa games are always off camera.
Eagle Eye Knessa. You get your Knessa gameplay that's just off the charts, and you're like, man, if people would see this, they'd suddenly think I was a pro. They'd finally believe in me. If I could just play Androxus like Likazor, I mean, everything would be okay in life.
Likazor, it was one of the, I feel like his name, this entire set, has kind of been glanced over, right? It's like you were there, like, I think I actually did this in Koa's biography, was saying, when you're the impactful player, but you're not always looking for the limelight, right?
Yeah.
Being able to know that is important. And that's kind of what he's felt like up until just this game, where it's just like, you're doing everything you can, everything you're doing is right, but you're not the star of the team right now.
Yeah,
right now,
that's true.
he's the star.
No, that's true. I mean, he definitely has stepped up into a totally different range. Strix with Inflame, that's actually going to be very deadly. And I haven't really thought about these snipers with Furia paired up. I mean, snipers kind of fell out of the meta the second Furia was around, and it had nothing really to do with Furia, but it did have more so to do with just the way the game had been shifting. But boy, oh boy, it really doesn't matter to Automata Rain, huh? It's all about Exterminia, exterminating every single challenger that approaches. I mean, if this was Mortal Kombat, this guy would already be at the do with 4 arms.
I think this was clean,
With the bubble.
I guess is the best way to describe it. 2 2,400 headshots, one right after the other.
Can we slow that first headshot down? I actually am very curious because he had a bubble on him. And I'm just wondering if the bubble got bursted before he hit the headshot. Or if he hit the headshot.
And it just burst through.
Because that's not what I am under the impression happens. So it is only 200. Any shot from someone at that point would have done it. The first one onto, believe the Androxus. We see the bubble there on the Strix. It might have just fallen off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It might have literally that
that
second fallen off.
That crazy area where you really can't tell. Either way, I mean, 2,400 plus the fact, like, he has open season 2, so even if he misses a headshot, he knows where you're going to be for the next 2 seconds. So this is going to be Exterminia literally on the hunt for people right now. Wherever he happens to find them, he's going to have the vision. No one touching the point just yet.
The 2 headshotters. And it seems like Willow just gets in and says, Moondog says, you haven't said my name in a minute. Let me go ahead and be a part of this. Man, Zaga Talent Gaming totally turned this around. Automata Rain have allowed it to go to a 3rd map, and Fish Market seems to just be a horrible place for them. The Strix just not doing it for me. 2 immobile on a really wide open map with some fat flankers in the Makoa and the Fernando able to get the job done against them.
I am really starting to understand the talent part of the name, Zaga Talent Gaming. Just the way things have been going for them, it feels clean, crisp, to the point. Again, it felt rough early on to the point where it was just like, man, these guys don't look like they are going to be able to even hold a candle to Automata Rain. But now, it's a completely different side of the coin.
That is true. The coin must be flipped at times to remain fresh. That's how you keep your coins fresh. Every day I go home, I flip my coins, make sure that they're fresh. Gore, you seem like you do that as well.
That's a euphemism. and I'm not sure how exactly I'm supposed to take it.
No, it's just literally,
coin
I
collection.
have a couple quarters. I like to flip them and keep them fresh. I rub my sticky hands all over them.
I do
My
not.
coin collection. I used to have a coin collection, actually. It was the thing my grandpa did. Try to get me into it. And a lot of, when grandpa's trying to get you into stuff that's, not that cool, you kind of do it a little bit. You get a little, starter kit, and then you just never do it again. And, 3 months go by, and you never talk about it again. There was a lot of things like that.
There are always a lot of things like that. I don't think I ever...
So many, you're not even going to name one.
I never got into coin collecting. Just
Why
well,
not?
I mean,
It's so
coin
action-packed.
collecting, rock collecting. Let's get minerals. Let's do astronomy. It's all right. Maybe one day. But
Dude, you're naming some hot Friday nights for me right there.
some hot Friday nights.
I mean, what date has ever said no to
A rock collecting
a
day.
Saturday night rock collecting experience? If you don't have a girl and you're trying to get one, dude, coin collecting, mineral, fungi examination.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff, to get the juices flowing.
And now, no joke though.
Passion.
Science museums, because even though museum to me has a very boring, connotative meaning,
Yeah.
science museums are all about playing around.
Yo, science museums are dope. I'm not gonna
They are
lie about
legit.
that. And this has become a little bit of a wipe here, in a big way. Fish Market is just a map with. You start losing this badly, it's in itself, instead of being a champion that snowballs, it is a map that snowballs. The second you start losing badly, you start losing even worse. And that just ends up being Zaga Talent Gaming coming around, taking 2 games in a row off of Automata Rain and taking the set. That was great.
The impact really flipped when the first time, Androxus used all
Like
of his
our coins.
headshots right at the very beginning, and then Exterminia got the rest of them for the game, right? It's just
Yeah,
like
man.
Androxus looked like it was going to be so good, and then that was the only thing that really stood out.
Bro, it's like a guy who comes in and he's like, all right, I want a bagel. Like,
look at all my minerals.
So if you ever bought bagels, there's this person who will always come in when you're choosing the bagel you want. Maybe you want 2 or 3, getting one for your girlfriend or whatever, or your friend. You're like, let me get a sesame. And you're like, I think I want a plain bagel. And then this dude walks up and says, hey, can I have 36 plain bagels, please? And then the guy gives him all the plain bagels, and there's no more left. Because that's what they do. They will just, I don't know. This is a very bagel shop type situation.
Very, very bagel oriented.
But
Also,
so
something that I
he
feel
used his first couple
is
of headshots.
grounded in reality.
It is. He used all his headshots and to bring it back, and then Kinessa's like, I'll take all the headshots from now on. And Exterminia definitely did that. Just to take a look at the standings here, Latin America has concluded as well as our PGS for today. It's been a lot of fun, and now I want a bagel. Now I want a bagel. Church of Malvonis, Automata Rain will be going down. But boy, free agent boys, Zaga Talent Gaming doing a fantastic job at getting their wins today. But also, I think Church of Malvonis and Automata Rain, especially Automata Rain, showing they will be a really interesting contestant in this PGS cycle. And just getting a recap of all of the leagues and the way that PGS has gone this week, it's been fantastic. We've seen Oceania play. We've seen CIS just recently today. We saw Brazil and Europe earlier on Tuesday. And, of course, North America and Southeast Asia on Wednesday. Those are your winners there. All of these wonderful teams. Can't thank them enough for providing great gameplay for all of us on these platforms to watch and cast.
And I'll say a lot of those 2-0s I feel are personally a little misleading because like they were 2-0s, but some of them were a lot closer where it's like, well, hey, it was a 4-3, 4-3 versus some of them which were just clean 4-0s. Kanga was able to pick up pretty clean games as well as what we've seen today.
Well, let's take a look at what we've got for you next week as well, because although this is Labor Day and we got a free Monday here, so we won't be broadcasting. We'll be back in action, starting with Europe and Brazil on Tuesday, Oceania and North America on Wednesday. We'll have a break doing just one set of Southeast Asia, or excuse me, 2 sets, but one region on Thursday. And then Friday, yet again, CIS and Latin America. This time we'll see free agent boys against Automata Rain, so that'll be interesting. And Zaga Talent Gaming will be able to test their might against the Church of Malvonis. So we'll hopefully be able to see a little bit of Church of Malvonis, have some more, I think, legs to stand on, not facing against the #1 Latin American team.
And that's really where I think week 1, again, you look at this team won, this team lost. Everyone's either 1-0 or 0-1. Once you get to like week 3, then you start getting the feel for where do people actually stand. Are you 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 1st? Whichever.
I am so happy that the PGS is back. We get to see so many great things for 1.4, and next week we will learn even more. So make sure to stay tuned at 11 a.m. Eastern Time here on whichever you prefer, Mixer, Twitch, YouTube. It's all across the board, like it's all around the globe here for the PGS. I'm Evan Rainday Rayner. That's William Newberry V, a.k.a. Gormizer. Check in with us on Twitter to keep in touch over the weekend and the week. And as always, friends, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and we'll see you all in the realm.
Hey there, Paladins fans. My name is Gormizer, and I just wanted to inform you that we're going to have a special episode of Esports Weekly September 4th, the same day that the PPL is going to be returning. As always, you can watch that on live.skillshot.com, as well as keep up with any updates about the show at twitter.com/paladinspro. But until then, I'll see you next time.